All right. Hey there, everybody. Hopefully you can hear me. Let me see. Yep, that should work. Sorry about that. Yeah, finally. Excited to finally be making this video. It's exhausted because of the work and all the Gen Con prep. But yeah, I have been meaning to make this video for a long time now. Let's give it a few seconds to see if anyone jumps in yet. So much to talk about. So much to talk about. Yeah, I've seen so many questions about the Boxes of Greed. And yeah, there's just so much history, so much information to dump about this. There's a lot of things that I wanted to have on hand, and yeah, it took me a little bit longer than I'd hoped to find a couple of last-minute things. Yeah, in this video I'm going to discuss the ins and outs of the Boxes of Greed, the history, the cards included via the Kickstarter, and their value. Yeah, before anything, let me touch on a bit of the format going forward. Basically, the online trends towards and backlash against AI seems more and more practical. It seems more and more practical to spend time doing live videos versus polishing videos. So I'm going to try and swing a lot more stuff like this. And no, I don't use AI in my thumbnails. For now, I do all of my thumbnails with my own pictures and my own editing on Photopea. I'm by no means an expert, but yeah, it's honest work. It's not great, but I'm working on it. The issue I have with this format is timing. I struggle heavily with schedules, so sometimes I'm just not available mentally or physically when most people are interested or available. Being on the East Coast, that means streaming ideally between 8 and 11 p.m. on weekdays and 11 p.m. to midnight, 11 a.m. to midnight on the weekends. So the idea now is just, fuck it. I'm going to just stream as if I was doing a production video, and if people show up, great. And if they don't, then hopefully a few will comment with engaging questions that will allow me to run giveaways every video, even after the video is done. So, if anyone has any questions, obviously, welcome. Please drop them in the chat. I will try and pause to take a look at the chat every couple of seconds, a couple minutes maybe. Hopefully there isn't a lot of lag. I think I kind of figured that out. Yeah, a lot of minor improvements, but hopefully it'll be a much smoother experience. So on the topic of giveaways, in the past my format was to throw dice and do giveaways in real time via YouTube. I did that to pretty good success during the Kickstarter. And one of my biggest fears, which I just touched on, was not having enough people tuning in to be able to continue that same idea. And basically what I had done previously was I kind of got people to claim a number from 1 to 20, and I'd roll the die, and whatever landed, that person was the person that won the giveaway. Obviously, you need roughly 10 to 20 people in order to do that, so if there's only 3 or 4, that doesn't really work. So yeah, especially with my really wonky hours and the complete inability to maintain any sort of schedule. As someone with ADHD that travels a lot and has a small business, that's just how I roll. Obviously, the pun is intended. So if I do have enough people on a stream, then I'm happy to continue that. But if not, I'll be adding a new format for giveaways. And so what we'll be doing is anyone that asks a relevant, non-low effort question, like how are you doing, doesn't count. Obviously, I appreciate the interest and everything. But the idea is to be able to generate as much engaging content as possible. So yeah, so I will basically grab people's questions. If you make a question, ask a question. If you ask a question during the stream, and or anyone that leaves a question in the comments of a video within 2 weeks after it's been published, because obviously all of this will be available after the fact, they'll be entered into the giveaway for whatever the giveaway cards are for that moment. I'm thinking that basically it'll be like 1 in 5 questions. Obviously, this is all super new, so I have no idea. If I have the time to roll the winners off in a video, then I will. And if I can't for whatever reason, I'll just try and reach out to everybody. I'm thinking that if I could just do, if I don't anticipate doing a big video soon, then I can just do like a small short or something, whatever, 30-second, minute-long short, just rolling for the winners of the previous video. And so yeah, so obviously be subscribed to see videos as they come out. See if anyone has any questions yet. No? All right, so let's move on. Chapter 1, the history of the Box of Greed, and why was it called that? So as you can see here, there are 3 boxes of greed. I chose the Meet at the Inn playmat because I believe that is the most relevant one, because obviously the whole point of Meet at the Inn was kind of like I guess the terminology in Magic is group hug. The idea is obviously you're kind of helping each other out. It's a meeting, it's a third space, as certain people call it, the gaming community. It's obviously a lot of fun. Anyone who is here watching this probably loves it as well. And so the Box of Greed was something that AEG came up with, which is an awesome idea. AEG is obviously well known for having had lots of incredible ideas with their products. And yeah, so this product was basically something that they never sold. So the Boxes of Greed were basically a promotional product. You can see on the bottom ones, on the bottom of some of the boxes, it says for use in brick and mortar retail stores only. Some of them don't have it, but basically, there we go. Here this one says, this box and its contents are promotional items. They are not intended for resale, for use in brick and mortar stores only. So what was it? The Box of Greed was basically a box that would come with about 100 or 150 rares or foils in it, which is obviously a lot less than this space. So it was definitely meant to be something that they could either use for themselves or give away as storage to the players. Obviously, they're very awesome. They're very cool looking boxes. So basically, yeah, they gave away free rares and foils to stores, and the idea was basically that every booster pack somebody would buy, you would get 1 free rare or foil. And you just random. And they're obviously from different kind of seasons. I don't know specifically which one came first. I was always acquaintanced. I was always used to having seen this one. This one has art from Dragon's Fury, which was an awesome set in, I want to say the end of CE. I don't remember for sure now. But anyway, it was on the latter end of the AEG times. This one, I have no idea. This doesn't seem to have any art that I'm aware of or that I know of. But anyway, so there's definitely different times when these were available. I don't think there's any other ones. These are the only 3 that I'm aware of that are branded as Boxes of Greed from AEG. And obviously you can see that they are very well loved. Anyway, so that is the culture of the Box of Greed. Yeah, this is Iquitos. This was a promo that was given out in one of the famous magazines way back in the early 2000s. Inquest, that's what it was called. This is an Inquest promo originally, and it only became kind of available because I believe it was printed in the 10 Ayor set, which was the 10th anniversary Ancients reprint set or something like that. I think that's what it was. The acronym for that was. So anyway, so yeah, so these are the original concept of the Box of Greed. Was basically something that was just cool. It was great for the players. Hey, is it Leroy Jenkins, 69,420, and Mansedems? Thank you for tuning in. Hopefully you guys enjoy it. Yeah, so let me move on. So that was the basic history. Why was it called the Box of Greed? Because obviously it's like a treasure box, and you buy packs and you just get 2 for 1 basically in rares. And again, it was super popular. It wasn't a like smashing hit in the sense that Warlord depended on this, for example, as much as the challenge concept in Warlord, but it was definitely one of those kind of cult classic things that all of us now boomer gamers remember fondly. It's always nice to get free stuff when you're helping your LGS, right? So anyway, so that is why Kingswood decided, I guess, to call their Box of Greed from the Kickstarter the Box of Greed, because it felt like an appropriate way, because they'd originally anticipated only giving 50 cards in the Box of Greed. They ended up giving the full 100. The 50 extra cards were supposed to be like the stretch goals for reaching certain numbers on the Kickstarter. We did not reach the full stretch goals during the Kickstarter, but they were also getting lots of orders through the stores. So basically the Kickstarter number, I think we ended up at around 600,000. Not we, obviously, I have nothing to do with it, but we as in the Warlord community. We ended up in the 600,000 range, but that is basically only from players. That didn't include any kind of back-end orders from all the brick-and-mortar stores and everybody else that had purchased through, they actually call it the meet at the end tier, which is basically like you paid $1, and then you would basically pay them after the fact for whatever it was you ordered as a pre-order. And so basically they came out, I don't remember specifically, but about a week later, maybe 2 weeks later, they came out saying that they had basically reached the target, aka roughly $1 million in sales, and so they were going to go ahead and give everybody the full box of greed, which was the 100 cards. Yeah, so let's get into it now. So let me take a look at my image behind me. So yeah, you can't really see it because I am sitting right in front of it, and I'm covering it really well. But behind me, there is a large box. Not the white ones, but this big brown one. So I evidently am a big fan of Warlord. We all know this. I'm also a big fan of the Box of Greed. I thought it was an awesome concept. Warlord in general, I love it. And yeah, so I did go pretty hard on the Box of Greed. And so I wanted to, that's why I actually didn't have one of these available to take a picture of it, and that's why I had to use just the digital version. But yeah, this is a box of Boxes of Greed. There is some irony in that sentence, of course. I don't believe this is actually a factory case, because the factory case is definitely of the other products. So I have a booster box case here, which is from, or will be from my next video, as some of you may have already seen. Let me see if that's too tall. That might be too tall there for you guys to see that. There you go. Yeah, so we all, or I mean, a lot of people might have already seen that this is what the case looks like on the outside for the booster boxes. This is 6 boxes. I have not opened any of them, so this is going to be the first one that I'm going to open, hopefully later tonight, if I have the energy for it. I am wrecked, but I need to make it happen, because I need cards to play at Gen Con. Anyway, so the point being is that this is a Uline box, which I believe is American. There are no signs here that say that it is Chinese, because everything was printed in China. But for the sake of just in case, I did not want to open it until I was on stream. So it is completely sealed. I have not opened it at all. So the first thing we're going to do, for the sake of posterity, is actually weigh it, measure it, and everything. Just for, why not? Because again, YOLO. I mean, we're going to crack it now, so that'll be one less of whatever this is in the world. So as you can see, here we go. Big scale here, and again, I don't even know how many boxes are in here. So that weighs 15.4 ounces. There are, what, 16 ounces in a pound, which means that that would be about 7 ounces, I assume, give or take. So about 15, yeah, there we go, 15 and a half pounds. I don't know, you guys can't see that, sorry. Yeah, that's distorting it, but anyway. 15 and a half pounds is roughly what the box weighs. So now that that's out of the way, let's move that. I am a fan of historical information. So because I don't know how many of these are out there, we're going to measure it as well. So this is 17 inches long. It is 14 inches wide, and it is 15 inches tall. 14, 15, 17. So let's get into it. There you go. Jacob says, yeah, I was wondering how I got all the stretch goal stuff in mind. Yeah, they announced that pretty early in the Kickstarter. It would have been like 1 or 2 announcements into the Kickstarter. And obviously because the Kickstarter was so delayed, you know, there was a lot of announcements after that, so it was pretty easy for that to get buried. But yeah, they did announce that it was a, you know, it was a good effort type thing, and I don't know, it was a group hug thing. They wanted to do something for the community because the community had done a lot for them. So yeah, as I suspected, this is very much not a case from China, because I don't think that that's how they compact at all. Oh well. Look at all these boxes of green. I love the concept. So yeah, this is the total then is what? 4, 8, 12. So this is 24 boxes of greed. So if anyone ever has one of these case things that is not originally from the factory, there should be 24 boxes in there. So now we can get out of the way and get back to one of the boxes. So what are we doing? We are going to compare them in size first. So here we go, back to the if there is ever any noise or something that bothers somebody, please let me know. I don't hear what you guys hear. I have a little bit of music in the background. I don't know if anyone can hear that. Yeah. So the box of greed, and we are going to compare this. Let's see. We're going to compare this to, so this is a magic, they used to be called fat packs, now they are bundles. Very old one, this is from Ice Age, I think. Oh, Cold Snap, sorry. Cold Snap, so there you go. The box of greed is a little bit bigger than the Cold Snap box. And then here we have a Celebrations, 25th anniversary celebrations from Pokemon, which again is about the same size as this magic bundle box. So the box of greed is a little bit bigger than the new, the new box of greed is a little bit bigger than the other bundles. And then as you can see, the older AEG boxes of greed are quite small compared to that. Hello, Henry. Thanks for joining. Actually, sorry. How long have we been going now? Yeah, so there's a couple of you in here. For anyone that did not hear it, the concept for the giveaways, are going to be people who ask questions. So generally, I will assume that roughly 1 in 5 questions will be getting a giveaway card. The cards that we will be giving away, or that I will be giving away, are going to be the box of greed cards that we open up now. And yeah, I mean, if we don't get that many questions now, I will go through it later on, and I'll go ahead and do those giveaways in about 2 weeks. So, you know, Gen Con is happening starting in 2 days. So I'm going to be doing that for the next week, roughly, and traveling. So anyway, so now we see the size comparison. Tall-wise, they are about the same size. These are basically the same size as a 400 count box. It might be a little bit smaller. I don't think I have one quite on hand. Let me see. I do. There we go. So this is a BCW 400 count storage box. And that, oh, there we go. So that's the exact same size as the box of greed. Look at that, tall-wise. So there you go. So the box of greed is a 400 count. Now this is 400 count is with sleeves. Without sleeves, these are actually about 550. So there you go. Now you know the comparison in size, the box of greeds. What else? So that was chapter 2. Chapter 3, what is the box of greed that was exclusively available via Kickstarter? So again, it was originally meant to be 50 cards, and you would get more cards as we met the stretch goals. We ended up getting all 100 cards. What was it? So the box of greed was a way for Kingswood to reprint cards that were not going to be part of the set. Essentially, that's why they're actually marked as promos, I believe. They just wanted to be able to give people a taste of what some of the older cards would look like with the new borders that they created and implemented. And they did give it quite a facelift for the cards. I did see some of the cards. Obviously, it's been months now that everything has been available. I have not opened one of the boxes myself, so this will be the first time I open it. Yeah, so excited to finally do this video. Like I said, there's just so much information. I keep seeing people asking about the Box of Greed, asking whether or not it's worth having one, getting one, holding it, not holding it, opening it, whatever. And so what was it? Why was it there? Why does it exist? And it is mainly that. It is not a... it's not a deck by any means, so it's not something that is, playable right out of the box. It is literally just a toolkit. I think, yeah, it would be most akin to a player's toolkit from Pokemon or Magic. Let's see, server side Dave asks, can you buy a Box of Greed still, or just from the Kickstarter? So from the company itself, Kingswood, they are not selling the Boxes of Greed. They are completely out. They were a Kickstarter exclusive. But there are lots of stores that did order them. Unfortunately, there are not many of them left. There are still 2 major stores that I'm aware of that sells them and that has them in stock. One of them is Gamers Guild in Arizona. I know that they still have them in stock at the kind of original price, which is about 120 USD. And in Europe, it's card what? Geek, what? Card Game Geek. Card Geek. I'm blanking right now, sorry. Card Game Geek, yeah, exactly. Okay, Card Game Geek has them still for 120 euros for Europe. That is an incredible price. I know that obviously things are tough right now, so it's not a cheap product by any means, but we will get into the value of it in a bit. But anyway, so now we have the box. I believe that explains what was it. Chapter 4 then. What was the intention of the Box of Greed? Why was it created as a product? So not only was it created as a toolkit for reprints that were relatively hard to find for the Ancients format, and also because Kingswood really wants to push the, and I don't mean that in a bad way, I mean like they're really trying to give incentives or the ability for people to be able to play Alliance as a new format. They really believe in it as a format. I'm excited to play it as a format as well. So that is a TBD. We'll see how all of that rolls out. But yeah, so the intention was not only the reprints, but also they wanted to make sure that there were lots of MRPs. So that's basically most recently printed version of a card. Some MRPs were very, very, very unpopular, and that is an understatement. From the 4th edition of Warlord, from back in the Phoenix Interactive company that had taken on the license from 2008 until 2011. They did lots of really good things. I personally am super thankful as a player to everything that they did to the game. But there were lots of players that were very, very unhappy with the way things were run. One of the advantages that Phoenix Interactive had done was that Warlord was very, very balanced. The pendulum basically swung heavily into the other way. The problem was that Epic Edition, which was the last edition run by AEG, was extremely, extremely unbalanced. So it was just basically broken, and people were, by the end of the game, people were super angry. So we're talking 2007. Yeah, basically AEG officially dropped the game roughly, I think, in February 2008. And then I think maybe a month or two later is when they posted that they had licensed it to Phoenix Interactive. So anyway, so yeah, basically the pendulum just swung super hard from being super broken and super unbalanced to trying to maintain something that was much more balanced. And by doing that, there were 2 major problems. The first one was that Phoenix Interactive had made the decision to bring back cards. So basically, it's a common theme in lots of games where when a player does pretty well in a tournament or something, you can, have a impact on the meta of a game by bringing one of your favorite characters back into it. And so while the idea is great, the problem is that the company had taken the decision to try and balance those characters because they were relatively unbalanced for the format, instead of just trying to create a new version of that character, which is what Kingswood has basically said many times now, that they would never bring a character back to then modify what it does. They would basically only ever bring a character back in a different form, maybe. But yeah, they would never, modify it to, especially not make it weaker, which is something that really just bugs people, especially with a card that is like a really big fan favorite, because especially if somebody's bringing it back because they love it, obviously there are going to be other people that probably love it too. And so yeah, that was something that just left a really bad taste in many people's mouths. So, circling back, on top of being needed reprints for this set, on top of also being a way for Kingswood to show off their new formatting, templating for the cards themselves, they also basically fixed lots of those very unpopular MRPs. So essentially now these cards are the most recent printed version, which basically means that all the previous versions essentially have whatever text is on these cards. Going on, there was one more thing, I think. Yeah, implementing errata, that was the third one. So basically, there are cards that were nerfed for whatever reason because they were broken. And so it is very frustrating for people to have a card that doesn't do what it's supposed to do, right? No one likes that. And that's one of the things that Kingswood really wants to disincentivize. They want to make sure that nobody is, reading the card explains the card. That's the basics right now. It's such a big thing in Magic. So they want to make sure that basically whenever you have a card, that it does what it says it does as much as humanly possible. So they've mentioned many times that they don't want to implement errata for anything. They would much rather ban something and just say you can't play with it, versus implement an errata where the card then has something, says something, or does something that it doesn't say, sorry. And so anyway, so they took advantage of the opportunity to reprint cards to also implement certain cards that had been errated. So yeah, this was a great way to get those out there. And we'll discuss those as we encounter them. So, Chapter 5. Discussing previous iterations of reprint products, fixed non-randomized products, and direct-to-customer products. Historical pricing versus release pricing, and the print run for the Kickstarter box agreed versus booster boxes. So, a couple things to talk about there. Let's do that last one first, because that's actually the easiest one. Print runs. So, anyone who has handled a booster box case, let me move that over for a second again. Anyone who has handled a booster box case would have noticed that they've got some numbers on them. So, as you can see here, it says case number 2471 of 2967. Now, I have personally, again, there's no special information here. I personally kind of just asked the question, hey, are these the right numbers? And Kingswood said, no, those are not the right numbers. There are a lot of reasons why these might not be the right numbers. Obviously, they had a lot of issues with the printers, so it's entirely possible that maybe the printer either didn't come through with shipping the entire shipment of their order as it should have. It's entirely possible that I don't know, something got lost, or that we don't know for sure. There's no knowing whether or not, maybe this was the original one. I haven't seen every single case, so maybe somebody has cases that say something different, as in this number might be a different number. I have no idea. I'm obviously not privy to that kind of information. But the point that I was trying to get at is that to this day, we are now at the end of July, so going into the beginning of August, there are still plenty of boxes available. It is amazing. I'm super excited about the future of Warlord, because it's awesome that in the past, generally, Warlord, I don't think it was like that all the time, but for the most part, it is easy for a product to tank once it gets launched and there isn't enough demand for it, and basically the market is flooded. Everybody's aware of that in Magic. That's definitely not something that happens right now in Pokemon, but there were definitely many times in Magic where there's kind of a lot of build-up to the excitement of when a product is launched, and then once it's actually launched, there's just so much product that it all the value of all the boxes just goes crashing. For Warlord, the value of the boxes has maintained itself pretty steady. It's under MSRP. MSRP is supposed to be 120 USD, give or take. I've seen boxes kind of fire sold every once in a while between 80 and 90 USD, but the reality is I think the average is kind of in the 90 to 100 USD. Dang, old school. Yes, those are old school boxes, agreed. So generally what I'm trying to get at is that I'm very excited at the fact that the product has not crashed. There has been enough demand for the market to absorb enough of the product so that sellers and stores don't panic sell and feel like they have to like just drop the prices, because otherwise they're never going to get rid of all the stock. There's a couple of sellers that I've observed that have basically sold kind of between $80 and $90, which I think again is kind of on the low end. They have been selling those boxes very, very frequently, quickly, easily. And it's crazy also knowing that those boxes that are $80 to $90 each can have cards that are over $100 now. At least, Master Dresden and the Devernius Axe are both over $100 in non-foil. In foil, they're worth more. So it's interesting to see, it's amazing to see that the market is absorbing those prices for a quote-unquote was a dead game, a niche game. Super exciting to see that there's such demand and value for it. Obviously, there's an argument to be made about how powerful the axe is, but at the end of the day, the point is simply that people are willing to pay these prices. There was a store here in Florida, apparently, that opened something like 20 cases, I think they said, and listed everything. They had gotten something like 24 Devernius Axe, and it seems like they sold out within a day. And they were all like $110 to $130, I think, between non-foil and foils. So that is just mind-blowing to me, having been through the ups and downs of the game for so long, to see such demand at such a low point in the game, in the resurgence. And I don't mean that in a bad thing. I just mean that I know that for now, Warlord is still only starting to get out there. There's so many people that don't know about Warlord. It's still only just starting to become a thing. And the guys at Kingswood are definitely doing an amazing job to push the game. There's a lot of things that they're... I'm in the Patreon, so we get information as they post it. It's free for anyone to join. You just get it a little bit later. But anyway, so yeah, I heard they do a... what do you call it? A chat, like a 1 hour thing. Podcast. They do a 1 hour podcast roughly once a month. And so they just launched that one a couple days ago. And so I heard that, and that was super exciting. And so that is, so the print run, basically what I was trying to get at is that the print run for the booster boxes from Kickstarter, I think is vastly, vastly, vastly larger than the print run for the Boxes of Greed. Not only because obviously that's the main format is Saga, but at the end of the day, because this was a Kickstarter exclusive. So again, the whole question here is basically, what is the Box of Greed, and is it worth it? And so from my perspective, especially if you compare the value of the Box of Greed, just retail for roughly the same price as a booster box, I definitely believe it's worth it. So yeah, TLDR. If anybody doesn't want to stay here that long, then the TLDR is absolutely worth it. Make sure that you get your hands on some of these, just from a player's perspective. So, as part of Chapter 5, let me take a pause and see if anyone has any questions yet. I haven't seen that red box since I was... Yeah, I know. It is nice to have found some of these older boxes in collections. I got $90 boxes from an LGS in my city because they didn't really hop on the bandwagon. Meanwhile, the shop across town couldn't keep them in stock, so the player base is there. Yeah. Cashtulu? Yeah, it is awesome to see. Again, I'm just super excited to see the demand. When I went to the Gen Con last year, I've mentioned it many times now, how excited people were, how much fun people were having that had never played the game before. It is just all the indicators for a healthy community are there. Warlord is back in a big way, and it's super exciting to be a small part of it, just being around to see it. So going into now sealed product. So we're talking about whether or not this is worth it. Over the history of Warlord, there have been a number of products that were fixed, as in there's no randomization because each one of these is exactly the 100 cards. So they're all exactly the same. There's no randomness of what you can get. And in all of these products that I have here and that I will discuss now, they're all the same thing. They are all fixed products, and they were all basically direct to player, which means that they were generally products kind of like a Kickstarter, where they don't go to distro. Basically, they are things that people would order directly from either AEG or Phoenix Interactive. So, again, for anyone who's new or just joining now, the dynamic for the giveaways for now is going to be for 1 in every 5 questions that is not a kind of low effort question of like, oh, hey, how you doing? You know, again, those are great, but the idea here is to try and maintain engagement between each other. And if anyone has any relevant, interesting questions, please throw them out there. And 2 weeks from now, I will basically run the giveaway of at least 1 card per 5 people. If we can push past 10 or 15 people, which we're at 9, which is surprising, but if we can push past 10 or 15 people, we can try and do some giveaways directly now live. I'd be happy to do that, but it's pretty late, so I'm not sure what's going to happen, but we'll see. Anyway, so sealed products. So let's start with the most recent of sealed products, and that I have not opened yet, is the 20th anniversary celebration pack. This was such an exciting product for almost everybody. This was a taste of what Warlord could be still. I can't wait to open one of these. I haven't opened one of these because I haven't had the time to make the video for it. But we're going to look at the value of this pack. So this pack was very on story, on theme. It was $20. That's what it was. It was a pre-order from AEG directly. It was an awesome story throwback. Basically, the Warlords that are in this pack are the Warlord versions of some of the original Medusans that we had throughout the beginning of the game. And so, for example, the dwarf that we have here his name is Life, and he ends up somehow in the story becoming Death, which was the dwarven Medusan Lord. Anyway, so it was so awesome to get any Warlord cards. 20th anniversary, that means that this came out in 2021-ish, I think late 2021. It was only pre-order, so it was basically like an internal Kickstarter with AEG. You had to pay them for whatever it is you wanted. I think they had a max order limit of something like 5, 6, 8, something like that, give or take. There was a certain max order limit per person, I think. And I believe you can dig through it on Facebook and figure out exactly what the print run was, but I believe it was something like 4,000 packs they made or something like that. Again, I don't remember specifically. I think they said something around that. Rings a bell, because I think it was about $80,000 worth of revenue that they had or something. Coffee. If I drink any alcohol right now, I will be passing out. Anyway, so point being, value-wise, this is the most recent sealed direct-to customer product that was created for Warlord. This was $20 when it first came out, plus shipping and tax. And these are now very consistently selling between $60 and $80 USD. The reality is that they're worth more. There are people out there that are going to hate me for saying that, but the reality is that they're worth much more. Even so I have things on eBay. I have not sold one of these for a long time. Kind of dropped out by accident. I forgot to relist it or whatever. And I just never went around to relisting it. And when I realized how much they were worth, I was just like, it's not worth selling them for such a low price, because the cards in them are very desirable, and they are, they're just fun cards, especially, again, because they're just the Warlord versions of the Medusans. If you were to try and get one of every card from the pack, from the only really store that has them, which is Card Game Geek, they're something like 200 euros. So that's a lot. That's a huge difference between the sealed price and the singles price, and it just doesn't make sense. So again, I'm not specifically advocating they should be worth that entirely. I'm just pointing out the fact that there's a lot of value in this sealed product, and not even to keep as sealed, just to open and play with, there's a lot of value there. So if you can get your hands on one of these sooner than later, it's probably a good idea if you want it. And again, just looking at the idea of this is only a 4 or 5 year old product now. The Box of Greed just came out, and they are still available at MSRP at select stores. So I would highly suggest that if you are interested in it, you should get it, because this is example number 1. Example number 2, we're going to go back in time. Yeah, I think that's the easiest thing to do. Example number 2 is this beauty. I only have one. This is the treasure chest. This is the only product that was sold by 4th edition, so Phoenix Interactive, that included foils in it. It was actually all foils. So this is a fully sealed one. I sold one in 2020, I think, for something like, I don't remember if it was specifically $250, $350, and that was a lot at the time. This, the MRP here was $25. These were super popular because it came with lots of awesome cards, and not only did it come with lots of awesome cards, it actually came with lots of uniquely printed cards that you could not get anywhere else. I think it was something like 10 cards were unique to this. I don't remember specifically. But there were a couple of really good cards in here that you could only get in here, on top of obviously cards that you could only get in foil in here, like Incinerate, for example, which was a huge card back then. And so, some of the cards that are only available in foil and in this package are actually in the Box of Greed. So we'll get to that later. But just to show, I do have one sealed one, but it's the inner seal. So this is what it looks like on the inside. And just for curiosity's sake, I actually have, this is the box topper kit from Kickstarter, which was also only available at Kickstarter. And so now you can see there the difference between the foil version and the extended art version from Saga. It's a little bit scuffed on the outside, but it is still sealed. Anyway, so these are impossible to find sealed. You can kind of get the cards as singles pretty reasonably, but they are crazy expensive. As in, they're not impossible to find, but they are quite expensive. Again, these were $25. This sealed now, I would guesstimate, is somewhere in the $400 to $500. I'm not trying to sell them. I'm not interested in selling them. They're crazy hard to find in sealed. These are literally the only 2 that I have. And the last one I sold was, again, in 2020. They are crazy expensive. So if anyone has them, congratulations. Very, 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 very hard to find. Just another example that these were released in the latter end of Phoenix Interactive, which would have been in 2010 or 11, I think. All right, I'm seeing lots of text, so let me take a moment to read here. If they do a Box of Greed 2 with the next set, are there any cards you hope are in it? And that is from Jacob Piat. Any cards that I hope are in it. So in the podcast that they did, they mentioned, and an interview they did with Sly Fox, they mentioned that they are going to be undoing lots of, one of the other things that was very unpopular about, it's very shiny, sorry, very unpopular about the 4th edition. Unfortunately, 4th edition was very, very bootstrapped. It was very understaffed. It was very underfunded. It was a small business, and they had a hard time making it work. And one of the things that they did to kind of cut corners and save money, notoriously, was to either use parts of art that were not used in cards for new cards, or just reuse art from cards that were not that popular. Sometimes they would flip it, sometimes they would change the color, sometimes they would change the crop, sometimes it was basically the exact same thing. I think there's like 1 or 2 cards that are literally the exact same piece of art, and it's very confusing. Yeah, so I know that apparently Kingsword fixed that in 1 card here. We'll look at that later. But otherwise, I know that they're trying to fix that for future products. I don't think they're going to do a Box of Greed 2. I think that whatever they do will probably be more focused on getting people into the format. So, for example, starter decks. I know in the podcast they definitely mentioned that they're going to release very likely before the end of the year, so Q4. Not only are they releasing the second set, but they're also releasing the starter decks for Alliance. So that is to try and get people into the format again. And so those are going to, quote unquote, kill two birds with one stone, where they're going, or three birds really, because it's not only getting people introduced into the format, it's going to help get cards into people's hands as reprints, and it's going to help fix some of the wrongs from the past. Cards that I would hope that would be in there as reprints. I would hope probably that some of the dragons might be in there as reprints. I would hope that they would fix foiling. It's fascinating how much variety in foiling that we've had inadvertently in Warlord. I think there's like 5 or 6 different foil types now. My favorite is the Epic Edition foils. I call them the accented foils. They are very beautiful. Apparently, one of the issues with that kind of foiling is that it requires a lot of effort on the back end, because the graphic designer needs to kind of point out what parts of the art need to be foiled. And so it's just a lot easier for companies on a budget to either just completely foil the art as 4th edition did here, or foil the way Saga did, which is basically just mostly the border. Supposedly there's a little bit of foiling in the art. I personally have not been able to see it. So I know that they mentioned that the promo that was given to Covenant as a pre-order card, that foil is from the new company. So hopefully that's a sign of better things. I know they also mentioned in the podcast that the next set is called Braxton something about the guilds. I don't remember right now off the top of my head. But basically, the guilds conspire. That's what it is. Braxton, the guilds conspire. And so that is a callback to me from Magic, which is from Ravnica Guilds of Ravnica. That's what it's called, the set. Super popular set with the Magic the Gathering community. It is a great way to build kind of consensus. So people in Warlord are very, very faction loyal, which is amazing. And I think that they're trying to create now kind of subdivisions, just like Magic, where some people really like a certain color, but at the same time also now we're going to have guilds that we can kind of all attach to and be like, oh, I really love this. This is kind of my, I don't know who I am. And I don't remember what I was going with that, but I really hope that they fix the foils. That's I think the biggest takeaway when they do reprints. Oh, that's what it was. Yeah, that the foil from the Covenant, if you look at it, what is it called? The Oracle. It has the Covenant logo in the text box. So for the guilds conspire, the guild symbols will be in the text box as well. That's where I was going with it. Super distracted. So server side Dave says, do you think prices will go down? I want to get some axes, but they are too expensive. I bought 2 boxes and got none. Yeah, that's why they're so expensive. That is what people, it's what they always say in Magic, is that in general, you should buy singles. I mean, obviously, who doesn't love ripping packs? But at the end of the day, the problem is that the axe being a legendary card, and it's basically a double legendary card. And the reason behind that, we'll discuss that in that next video, but just very quickly, obviously, because there are cards that are extended art and cards that are not extended art, basically, the legendaries, there's 12 legendaries that are extended art, and so those cards have twice, or appear twice as often or more in the packs than the cards that don't. And so that's part of the problem, is that the Axe, Dresden, what's his name? He's a knight. I forgot his name, the Devrinian knight. He is that beacon, as well as that. There's a couple of those legendaries that are very, very powerful, do not exist in extended art, and that's what makes them so difficult to get, because you can only get them in the rare slot as a non-foil, or you can only get them as a foil in the foil or extended art slot, which means that there are I think that makes it one out of 396 cards that will be that card in foil. which because you're only getting your, what was the logic? There are, so a booster box comes with 24 packs, and of the 24 packs, 20 are basically foils. So essentially, you need to get 20 boxes to get 400 foils, which means that in theory, you would have to buy 20 boxes. Yeah, Duke, thank you, Leroy. So in theory, you would need to get about 20 boxes worth to theoretically get one of every foil. And that's why they're so hard to find. And again, obviously, you add on top of that the fact that there was a problem with the not the distribution, the coalition. Then yeah, there's definitely problems with the rarity. As far as we're aware, they have repeatedly mentioned that they are not going to try and reprint the set. They have not said anything about reprinting anything. They are definitely going to be releasing promos of the set, so we have no idea what cards they're targeting as promos. Only they know that. I have no idea. And so there's a slim chance at some point that they will release some of these as promos, but I can only imagine they would only get more and more desirable. The only way the price that is going to go down for the axe is if they ban it, honestly. So it would probably not be banned for Ancients, but it very likely could be banned for Saga. But that depends on whether or not the results of the next, I think they said 4 to 6 months. I don't think they're going to, I don't think they want to take drastic measures of banning anything until the second set comes out, I would imagine. Again, I have no inside information on this. This is just me speculating, so don't quote me on this. But my expectation is, from what I observe, is that I think that they want to make sure that the meta is more evolved and not just like knee-jerk reaction to a certain card being relatively powerful. So yeah, I think that they're going to maybe try and fix that with that second set. But if the meta is like everybody has axes and that the top 8 is every deck has three axes, then it's entirely possible that they might have to ban it. But I have no idea. We will see. That's entirely up to them. That is so awesome. So you think the price is going? So no, I don't think they're going to go down. I think that your best bet is to either trade for them or buy them. Just, you know, that or find a way to build decks without them. Obviously, they are pretty necessary for any fighter decks, but if you're at all interested in one of the other classes, then I would just suggest try doing one of the other classes to beat them. What is that, Leroy asks. I assume that these were these. I've gotten lucky and gotten 2 axes so far in just over 2 boxes. Yeah, that is very lucky. Is the FOMO as bad as it sounds? That was Ben Stiffer. The FOMO for what? FOMO for the very hard to find legendaries, or for the Box of Greed? Leroy says Duke Richner. Yes, that's what I was trying to remember. And he opened 9 boxes and got 3 axes. Nice, lucky you. So at least you got a playset. It's annoying that you're going to have to move them around between decks, but at least you have a full playset. Well, that makes sense. I saw some tournament post on Facebook that banned axe for it. Jacob, you would have seen the post for the online circuit. So that is when you play on untap.in, I think it's called. I don't remember the website right now. But that tournament circuit is run by I don't know if they still call themselves that, but they were the Guardians, and those were the people that were basically trying to maintain the spirit of Warlord alive. They did a great job, of course, so absolutely no shade on that, topic. And they spent a lot of time and money and effort in maintaining the tournaments and giving prize support and everything like that. Right now, very minor plug, but I've been trying to do free Warlord giveaways of some ancient Warlords to people that play in those tournaments. Like if it's your first time playing in the tournament and you play the full tournament, then you will get a free Warlord from me. So that's kind of just a way to encourage people to jump in and practice play it. It's definitely not the same thing as playing on tabletop. It's a lot more fun to play in real life IRL, but it is what it is. And one of the most amazing things right now about how well Warlord is doing is that there are communities of Warlord players kind of all over the world now. They were always kind of there and they were dormant, but you know, Brazil, the Philippines are super active. There are communities, small communities right now in Europe, but there are communities in Europe that are playing. You've got Canada, you've got Australia, there's some in Japan that I've seen, Mexico, obviously the US and Canada. I think those are the major ones that I know of right now. But yeah, it's amazing to see that they are so active. If you're not signed up to the Warlord Player Locator, do sign up. We are developing a lot of stuff on the back end for that. It is going to be an awesome website. For now, there's still tons and tons and tons of information that is not very well organized right now, but it's there, and it will become more and more useful. So yeah, sign up to being on the player locator if you're not there yet, and tell your stores to sign up to it as well, because they're going to be able to put information on their events, their hours of operations, and their information for people to find them as well. So yeah, if you know any store owners, let them know to get onto that player locator. I saw some tournaments. Yeah, so that tournament is not an official tournament. It is a player-run tournament, and it's only online, and it's not even a full-on what's the word? Saga tournament. They're doing it a classy tournament, which basically means they're like it's one or the other. You can either be turncoat, which means that you can grab any warlord and then you can change the faction, or you can grab that warlord and you can change the class of that warlord and play it in that class. So it's one of those funky formats that they like to do, I think, at least once a year. So yeah, so they're just playing with it to remove it. Not official. It's not an official tournament. So FOMO, card availability, like you just said, if you can't get the cards, build another class. Are players losing out by not getting the Box of Greed as example? Yes, I am a big advocate. This is why I'm doing this. I'm trying to, the word that comes to mind is educate. Obviously, I don't mean that in a derogative form in any way. I'm just trying to show the information that this is very, very valuable. We'll get to that. But at the end of the day, yes, this is very much worth it. If you can and you have the funds for it and you're interested in playing other formats than the Saga format, then this is basically super stable. There are all of the old guard Warlord players, or almost all of them, basically this was an obligatory 3x for almost everybody. Just because, again, you wanted to get a full playset of some of these some of the cards that are in here that are just, it's super dumb to not have them. And again, I don't mean this in any bad way. It's just for example, Mass Blessing is one of the first ones that comes to mind. A Mass Blessing, if you're going to play an Ancients deck, a Cleric Ancients deck, you need a playset of Mass Blessing. There's almost no, I'm sure there are lots of them, but the majority of Cleric decks in Ancients are going to be playing Mass Blessing, and so that's just a almost automatic 3 of. Torn Yiskar, super important card. It's been reprinted many times, but still super powerful. It's basically the old version of the Oracle. It's in here, super important. It is epic, so that's one of the things that they fixed in here. We'll talk about that as we get there. I think. Maybe not. I don't know. We'll have to check that because I'm actually not sure. Anyway, in Ancients it's epic, so you can only have one in your deck. But yeah, there's just so much value in this box. We'll get to that. Basically, if you're on the fence about it, you should definitely take the time and effort to grab it if you can. Yeah, playing Skulls because I like Rogue. Yes, he was the first Warlord that I drafted at Gen Con last year. And the funny thing is I'm not generally a Nothog player or a Rogue player, but when I got him in the first draft pack, I was like, I have to play this. A, it's a legendary card, so it was kind of like, oh, cool, got a legendary in my first pack in draft. And B, just his ability is super, super convenient in draft, especially because there's the card, the draft item, where in a worst case scenario, if you're not able to draft enough items, then you can just stack your deck with that draft item, Tattered Armaments, that's what it's called, and use his ability and just chuck it at your opponent. Unfortunately, I did top 4, I think, in that tournament last year, so it wasn't too bad, but it wasn't top. But anyway, yeah, he was more fun than I had expected. You are from Guatemala. Awesome. Yes, I have heard that there is a small community of people playing in Guatemala, so that is great. The more people that play, the better. All right. Oh, sorry, I was going to sneeze there. Let's move on to the next one. So we're going backwards. These are, again, the treasure chest, so very hard to find. The next sealed item that was printed by Phoenix Interactive was actually, I think, the most similar to this item. So this is the 10th anniversary Ancients reprint set. There was never a box for this. This is how they were sold. This is how they were printed. This is how they were distributed. This was direct to player. This was at the very latter end of the Phoenix Interactive time period, and these are basically, I don't want to say impossible, but they are very hard to find nowadays, especially sealed. People crack these like crazy, just like the Boxes of Greed, because there were so many useful cards in them. Specifically, there's a Torn, there's Mass Blessing in here, a bunch of other stuff. These are 110 cards, so there's 10 cards more than there were in here. The drama with these was that the Phoenix Interactive kind of did the Kickstarter thing, where they got people to pay them ahead of time a deposit to pre-order them, and there was a vote on what cards should be included. I don't remember all of the drama, and unfortunately, or for better or for worse, we don't have the Temple of Lore anymore, so there's no easily findable written history of exactly what was said. But I do know for a fact that Terror Shard was supposed to be in this set, and it angered people extensively that he was not included. And one of the biggest reasons for that, apparently, was because the art was not available. I don't know specifically the reasoning, whether they couldn't find it or not. Unfortunately, it's just crazy to imagine and remember that when Warlord came out in 2001, the world was a lot more analog. Things were much harder to maintain, digitally speaking, and tech was very expensive. And so from my understanding, AEG did not do a incredible job. Not that, again, nobody really did, but AEG was not kind of at the forefront of being able to maintain everything in a scanned way. I know I had read something about Magic artists in like the 90s and early 2000s had to make art on, make it sure that they were the size of a piece of paper because they would fax the actual art to Wizards of the Coast. So in general, there were lots of limitations, technologically speaking. And so by the time AEG gave Phoenix Interactive, or at least them, the rights, there were lots of holes in the art. I understand that is still the case, and that is part of what Kingswood is dealing with reprints. So that's why maybe certain reprints weren't included in this box. And so there are not only, again, the moments of art that were bad in the sense of art being either repurposed when it shouldn't have been, or cropped art or whatever, but they are also dealing with certain pieces of art that they just don't have access to, period. There are artists that have passed away, unfortunately, and so I don't know, again, I don't know anything about the insides and outsides, but I do know that kind of the word on the street is that it's part of the difficulty of reprinting things is basically securing the rights to be able to reprint those cards. And so, yeah, they're working on it. I mean, Warlord had something like, I think it's 5,000 different cards, which, again, compared to Magic and Pokemon, it's not that much, but compared to kind of lots of smaller games, it's a lot of variety. And so a lot of those cards are currently just not available yet. Oh boy. I see that we had a little lag there, hopefully. Uh-oh. There's something going on here. Let me check quickly if there's anything I can do. I don't think I can change the bitrate here. It says that it's a little laggy. Technical difficulties, sorry. Output. Yeah, it's just there. So the best I can do maybe is we can try to pause the music and see if that helps a little bit. Anyway, okay, so point being, these were a deposit amount. I don't remember the exact number, but I believe it would have been something like $40 for these. And sales data is not very available because there just aren't any of these. On the low end, they were selling for about $250 3 or 4 years ago on eBay. on the high end, they're definitely, they were worth over $400. Now that this has been printed and some of these cards are now in here, obviously that lowers the value a little bit, but at the end of the day, they're just impossible to find. So I would much rather not open them and hold on to them another couple of years and find somebody that does want them and is, you know, possibly willing to pay what they might be worth at that time. Who knows? Again, I'm not trying to sell them, but at the end of the day, they're worth a lot more than $40. That's for sure. Let's speed through a few more of these before we're here forever. The next things I will go through are now the actual products from 4th edition. So these were the actual decks from 4th edition. Basically, they were all fixed sets. And so they started, these were the numbers, they were the APSs. So they were called Adventure Path sets. And so the base set for 4th edition was 6 of these. And then the subsequent sets 2 and 3 were 3 of them. So basically 1 per faction, 6 factions. And then after that, they ended up migrating to individual decks per faction. So they actually did 7 individuals, 1 per faction, up until the last set. So I think they did 2 or 3 sets after that. And then there was one other thing, actually. There was the Ancient Lore, which was kind of like a mismatch mixed of the very last cards that they had developed and kind of just threw out there as part of 4th edition, which was also basically something like this. It was, I can pull it out. Give me one sec. I think I've got it. Yeah, here it is. Easy enough. There we go. So that is what the Ancient Lore set looks like. It is not a deck. It did not have boxes. So this, just like these, it was just direct to players. It's got some cool cards in it, but it is just random cards. What I wanted to get at was the base set, so sets 1 through 6 are impossible to find nowadays, and they could not give them away. I cannot stress enough how little value these boxes had for kind of the entirety of, uh-oh. Oh, we're lagging. What is going on here? YouTube is not everything to maintain smooth streaming. No, we have lagged. I'm not sure. What can we do here? Can we pause it? Is it? All right, are we back? Let's see. Can you hear me? Oof. Yeah, this is rough. Can you hear me? Not sure how to fix that, unfortunately. there seems to be a little bit of a lag, but hopefully this holds up. Okay, yeah, it looks like the connection is better again. I don't know what happened. All right, I'll try and blast through it a little bit. A lot of information, sorry. Oh, wait, no, I'm gonna have to turn that off there again. Okay. All right, so first edition, the base set for 4th edition was completely worthless, entirely worthless, but you cannot find them sealed anymore, basically. Like I said, in 2011-ish, they would try to give them away to people desperately, and nobody wanted them. They were trash to people. I think they were worth between $10 and $15. And the reality is the reason was mostly because they were heavily, it was mostly reprints in these sets. There are some new cards, and there were some updated cards. But at the end of the day, I think that was kind of the major issue with the first base set, was just there was way too many reprints and nothing really too exciting in the sets, other than kind of the Warlords and a couple key cards here and there. The other sets are, they're now pretty hard to find. Some people still have some sealed stuff, and it does pop up now and again. There have been some pretty decent prices here and there, and especially with some reprints, of course, some of those prices have now calmed down a little bit. But at the end of the day, they are still quite hard to find. I personally have some of them, but I definitely do not have a lot of these left. I have sold a lot of them over the years now. And it's just this is just to show how they went around or continued. These in here, they have basically 2 sealed packs like this. And so they're not individually wrapped kind of in boxes at all. And so it was relatively common for people to open it and keep one deck. And this is what people really disliked about Phoenix Interactive originally, was that they didn't want to have to pay for 2 different decks if you just wanted one card. There were no booster packs in 4th edition. And as things were getting more and more difficult for Phoenix Interactive, they actually had boxes that were no longer even cellophaned on the outside. So the very last, I think, 4 or 5 boxes before they even got to this was basically just the cardboard box and then the sealed pack on the inside. The advantage of these was that they were all fixed cards, so you know exactly what you get when you buy them. Each deck roughly had 10 rares, and they were 55 cards each. So the logic for 4th edition was that if you were to get one of every single deck from one of the sets, you would get 1 of every single rare, 2 of every single uncommon, and 3 of every common. So that's how they did rarities. So people were just like, they didn't like the idea of having to buy 3 of every single thing to get a full playset of everything. Advantages and disadvantages. It is what it is. The point here is that they are pretty hard to find, and there is a lot of value in them. And again, these were direct to consumer, and again, they were very, very underappreciated in their moment. So seeing, again, coming back to the Box of Greed, seeing that the Box of Greed, it didn't spike because there was enough of a supply in the aftermarket after the Kickstarter ended and was distributed, to kind of absorb that first panic sale, because I think the highest sale did get up to roughly $200. Yeah, the market kind of was satisfied, but no one is panic selling the little bit of stock they have left. And so that's a good sign in general that there is a lot of value there. But people will realize quickly how much value is there. So that is, move on. That is 4th edition. Now we're going to go back into the AEG times. So there are 2 examples of AEG products that we will get into very quickly. This first one, let's move all of these 4th edition stuff out, is the infamous, what were they called? Destiny. Stolen Destiny. So the Stolen Destiny set was this. This was a direct 2-player set, and it came with these 2 bricks. As you can see, I believe the total is exactly 200 cards. These 2 bricks and this beautiful binder. So roll that around. You can see Quartet there. This is, what's her name? Drac. And one of the Glins. And it has some story in there. So this is the Stolen Destiny set. It has a bunch of this. I have this scanned, so at some point we will get that out there. It might actually already be on the website, but it is just a bit of story about the Warlords. So the point of this set specifically was to find characters that the community really loved and give them either forward story or backward story. Basically, either where they came from or where they were going. Is basically to show the again, the history of certain characters, which is part of what's so awesome about this game, is because again, the fact that characters have levels means that, you know, when you're level 1, you're just a teen or a young adult, and as you progress, obviously it's a kind of an equivalency to being an older adult. And so it is an easy thing to be able to show people progressing or showing a younger version of them. And it's just something that, you know, obviously is super on theme for story. So this is an awesome set, but the same thing as these earlier APSs, in the sense that you could not give these away for... This came out in 2000, I believe 2006. What is this? It says it on here. No, 2007. Yeah, so it was the very end of AEG. So they came out in 2007. You could not give these away. They were throwing these at people as prize support for tournaments, for everything. People threw things away. I mean, it was nuts how available they were and how underappreciated they were at the time. And yeah, now they're almost impossible to find, and they are along with this next product, they are some of the most expensive Warlords ever. So this set was cool because it was a full playset of the cards that came in the set. So you didn't have to buy anything except for one. Why? Because it came with 3 of every single normal card, and it came with 1 of every single Warlord, plus the heroes, which are epic. You can only have 1 of each anyway. And then the epic items. So it came with the rings, and it came with the journal entry, I think it's called, and that's actually in here, in the box of green. So there are some very, 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 very valuable cards in this set, and they are very, very hard to find nowadays. So yeah, and basically these Warlords are some of the most valuable Warlords. These Warlords are some of the most valuable Warlords in Warlord. And the next set is also some of the most valuable Warlords in Warlord. And that is the Champion set. Yes, Derek. Yes, very, very hard to find. Yeah, so the Champion set is the first direct-to-player set that AEG did. Champion set was really, really cool because the Champion set was run and kind of designed by these players that won big championships. And so they kind of picked a faction, and they were given kind of free reign to design a top-tier deck with that faction. And they designed a unique Warlord and 2 kind of assistant characters to that theme of that Warlord. And so in reality, this is mostly a reprint box that came with 6 decks, but had these individual... So the set itself, the Champion set, only has 18 new cards, 6 new Warlords, and 12 new characters. And this is basically also impossible to find. This is probably one of the... These 2 are probably the rarest things to find in sealed, and maybe these, the treasure chest. If I had to say, those are the rarest things to find in sealed. And so, here you go. So, it was so popular that they actually sold out very, very quickly. And so, AEG actually did 2 different print runs. Most people don't know this or remember this. They did 2 different print runs of these cards. And so here, I can show you 2 examples. I don't know what's better. We'll do this, and then we'll do this. So the difference is, the original print run were these that were fully sealed, as you can see. And they are marked as 2005. And then the second print run that they did was basically an emergency print run because people were so excited to get these that they could not get them anymore. It says 2005, but I'm pretty sure that there's some that exist. I could have sworn there were some that exist as 2006. I don't see them now, so maybe I'm wrong, but whatever. There's 2 print runs. That's 100% certain, is that this is one and this is the other. I have not opened them. These are kind of the grails. These are impossible to find as sealed packages, and so at some point, someday, I'll crack some on this channel. But at the end of the day, yeah, these basically only have 3 unique characters. It was 1 Warlord, 2 level 4 characters, the same one, and then 3 level 3 characters, again, the same one. These are, again, crazy expensive. Sealed. I don't even want to imagine what I would want for the sealed ones specifically, because those are definitely the harder ones to find. These, being the latter ones, were relatively easier to find. But individually, the cards, the decks themselves, I think on the very super low end, basically any of these extremely valuable decks are all in the $300 range, give or take, as a guesstimate. You can all argue prices. Anybody can argue prices however they want. Good luck finding them. Even if you have the money, you have to find someone that actually has it and is willing to sell it to you. A lot of people that would be willing to sell it to you, but they just don't exist. So yeah, I have been lucky to be able to find a few of them, but they are super hard to find. And even just as singles, just nobody has them. They're very, 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 very hard to find. Now, these 2, I think, were reprinted in Box of Greed. So there you go. 2 of the very, very, I mean, I love Paladins, so this guy is awesome. And they reprinted Tavis Jape because Tavis Jape actually has an errata. So that's one of the advantages to the Box of Greed, again, is that it actually has the right text on it. So that's cool. So yeah, and one little extra point of information is that this set is also the only set that had these. So anybody that's been around for a little while has seen these. I figured that since we're on the topic of it, I would show them. So these are Rook deck boxes. I'll get that in a second. So these are all of the Warlords. So there were no sleeves for them, but they were deck boxes. So the deck boxes were very cool. They were very popular. Unfortunately, they're not entirely practical. The biggest issue with them is that they have a lip on the inside, and so if your card gets stuck in there, that can damage the cards. So you got to be kind of careful about that. But in general, they are still very beautiful deck boxes. So there you have the what are they called? The signets of the different factions, and then oh, so I turned that around back poorly. Sorry. Basically, there we go. So these are the characters. Sorry, I'm dying there. So these are the characters. They are mixed. So this is level 4, level 3, level 4, level 3, level 4, level 3. Those are all the characters. And then these are the Warlords. These are also very hard to find. And in their original state as sealed, you could only get, or you could get them like this. So they were sealed in these like plastic things. They didn't have anything in them. They're empty, but this is how they were sold. So I just thought I'd throw that out there just so that people know what they were like. They do fit nicely in those boxes, but I don't believe that they were sold in the boxes itself. I could be wrong about that. Maybe the original print run did come with the boxes, but yeah, they don't. Yeah, no, they definitely don't all fit in here, which is kind of weird. You'd think that they would. And that's why I don't believe that they were sold in the boxes. Yeah, even sideways, they don't fit. They don't fit. No, they do fit that way, so maybe they would fit that way. That's super tight. That expands the box, so I can't imagine they were like that. They would have been like this. So no, they don't all fit in the box. So this is why I don't think that they were distributed in the box at all. But anyway, so now we know. And as another really weird side note, the graphic designer that made the logo for this was confused that it had been used as champions, because he had originally made it, I think it was for the Overlord logo. And so there is a digital version of this logo that says Overlords, and they ended up not using it, and they just ended up using it for this set. This is a Medusan Lord. This is another Medusan Lord that never fell. This is just a level 4 elf. And level 4 Throg, level 3 Elf, I think. And then, yeah. So there's that. So that was a very long-winded, very long-winded roll back through time through some of the most valuable products that you can find for Warlord anytime soon. At the moment, rather. Mikeman 9371 says, they used to make such cool and different accessories for games. What's your favorite game accessory, either specific or a type of one that you don't get made anymore? Yeah, these boxes. These are some of my favorites. So I was actually really excited. That's part of what I really love about this product, is that Warlord never really made very many custom boxes. There are only, that I'm aware of, other than the Rook boxes that we just looked at, the metal ones. Again, I'm only aware of these 3 boxes of Greed. I'm only aware of 3 different, what are they called, battle boxes. So there's the red one, the original blue one, and then the Battle Box 2, which is kind of a brownish one. And then there's the Champions box, which is super hard to find, and they're all very well loved. It's impossible to find one of these that's in like perfect condition. Nobody in that period of time, everyone loved having it, and it was something that you would show off, and this was how you carried your decks around all the time. And then the boxes from these were mostly just product boxes, so they're not useful in any way to carry your deck. If you were to sleeve them, they wouldn't fit. So in general, they're basically just wrapping, versus decks or boxes like these that you can love and carry around and use consistently. I don't think that there was anything else for Warlord other than now the new deck boxes, which are usable sleeves. So yeah, that was one of the things, one of the kind of brownie points or something that I really enjoyed about the box of Greed. It is a beautiful box, and I will be using it very, very proudly. It's a cool box, so I'm excited to get into it. So let's move on here. That was Chapter 5. Finally, Chapter 6, moving on. Value of the Kickstarter Box of Greed. I'm not specifically advocating anybody, try and hoard them, though, I thoroughly believe everybody's welcome to do whatever they want with their own money, finances, and everything. I am advocating that if you're on the fence about it, you should definitely get it before the prices explode, because I thoroughly believe they will. Again, I just went through a lot of the historical products in the past. The Champions is the exception in that I don't think it was ever readily available. Like, it never crashed. But a lot of the other products definitely went through the Champions were available at like the height of Warlord through AG, which was, again, 2005. 2005, 2006 was when Warlord was kind of the biggest that it ever was at the time. And again, 2007 just ended up being super negative, apparently. And AEG just got fed up, not with Warlord specifically, just with the stress involved of, that, again, the hearsay. I don't know specifically, nobody ever told me directly from, the mouth of the people that made the decision making. But the hearsay was that AEG wanted to focus on making tabletop, like, board games, because it was just much less stressful. It was just easier. You could develop a game, you could get it printed, and you could release it, and you wouldn't have to worry about it too much after that. Whereas with a trading card game, you have to constantly produce things, and so it's just a what do you call it? Like a hamster wheel that just never stops. You have to constantly be on top of it, and it, when a release is happening, everybody's excited, and there's stuff that comes around, and people, for example, the axe is a problem, so that kind of thing is stressful for the company to have to make those kinds of decisions, because they make one decision. If you just bought a playset of axes for $350 from that Florida store, and then the next week the company bans the axe, you're not going to be a happy camper. And vice versa, if you don't have the money to spend $350 on 3 cards in a game that you just started playing, and then you get trounced by 4 or 5 players using it in their decks, you're not going to be a happy camper. And so that kind of decision is a very complicated decision that requires a delicate balance. again, I'm happy that I'm not in the position to be doing that, making those decisions. But at the end of the day, it is a stressful business to be in, and like you know, you're on the release, but they're constantly working on the rest of the hamster wheel. You're working. They mentioned it from the Kickstarter. They were already working on set 2. They're super excited about set 2. So like, it's awesome that they're passionate about the game, but at the end of the day, they are constantly looking at what are they going to do, you know, next month, next 6 months, next year, et cetera, et cetera. It just never stops. And so that is why AAG stopped doing that. Let us go on. Value-wise, what do you guys, so the guys that are here with me, people, I don't know, that are here listening, it seems like we're lagging a little again, but if you can, type in, let me know, what do you think is the value of the cards, the market value of the cards, if you were to go and buy them from the only seller that had all of them available, or most of them, which is Card Game Geek. Uh-oh, yeah, we're lagging again. I wish there was a way that I could like pause it. Not really sure how. Maybe if I pause that and I pause this. Trying to get some things to stop. But anyway, so in the meantime, let me know what you guys think this is worth if you were to buy all of the cards individually from Card Game Geek. Yeah, you guys can still hear me. Okay, good. So anyone want to take a stab at it? What is the Box of Greed worth if you were to buy all the singles, the original versions, on Card Game Geek? Has anybody calculated it? Does anybody have any idea? All right, so I did calculate it because I'm a big fan of data. I definitely, we all work off of gut feeling and everything. But, data helps make people make informed decisions. And so, if you were to calculate the exact value of all of the cards in here, according to a couple of months ago, so I don't know if these have changed at all, but kind of before release for the older versions of these cards, you were looking at basically $2,500 worth of cards. Now, there are two big, I don't want to say exceptions, but I want to say like the two special cards in here that were very, very, very expensive because they're super hard to find. And so that definitely is not a very realistic price. But even if you were to go to half of that, of $1,300, give or take, that's still insane value for $120 worth of cards that you can get now. What I'm getting at is that basically there is no way, there's no way in hell that this is going to be $120 6 to 12 months from now. So if anybody wants it, get it now. Get it quickly because they are going to run out. I know that Gamers Guild, I think they have like 70 left. As far as I know, they're the only store in the US that still has them in stock at MSRP. So this is everybody's fair warning. It is July of 2026. I cannot imagine that these are going to be $120 in 6 to 12 months, especially with the way the game's going. And if Kingswood really does release products and create excitement for both Ancients and Alliance, demand for this is only going to explode. So yeah, that is my basic thesis of value for this box, which again, I believe nobody really looked into how much value there is. We'll get into it a little bit further. Let's see. Yeah, so that is Chapter 6. I basically believe that the value of the Kickstarter Box of Greed is super undervalued. So go get it. That is, if you can, obviously. If you can and you have the funds for it and you enjoy it and you think you're going to like it, because that was the other thing that I personally observed about this, is that the reality is obviously the Saga format is a lot of fun and people are going to enjoy it a lot, but people like new things and variety. And especially if you like playing a certain strategy in the game and you discover that a certain Warlord exists outside of Saga that tickles that itch for the kind of thing that you like doing, you're going to want to play that format. And so there are something like 200 different Warlords in Warlord, not including the Saga Warlords. And so I'm certain that most new players have probably barely even seen something like 10% of the different Warlords that exist out there. And so what I'm saying is that the card pool is so deep that it's going to give them, they're going to have a lot, it's going to take them a while to discover everything that exists out there. And so the excitement for this kind of product is naturally going to be slower than the current format. Yeah. And even then, these haven't crashed and there's almost none available. So jump on them. All right, so Chapter 7, going through the cards. Last step. Let us quickly let's weigh the thing again, just so that people know what it weighs. There you go. As a sealed box. It says about 12 ounces. I don't know if that's, yeah, maybe that is how it works, and it wasn't like 0.5. That is pounds and ounces. So yeah, it's about 12 ounces for a sealed box. Direct from Kingswood, I guess Kickstarter rather. So, first box that I have opened. Let's get into it. I actually want to damage it. There we go. Beautiful. There you go. So that is what they look like. Very nice. protected, well set. It's not just, you know, bobbling around inside it. It's pretty tight. So that is the brick. It's a 100 card brick. And then there you go. We just got these. Now the only thing I don't like about these boxes is that you see they have that lip of the outside texture. And so unfortunately, I don't have a well, yeah. There we go. I can sleeve a card somewhere. Sleeve a random card here. So yeah, it doesn't quite fit. But the problem is that if it goes under, like as things, obviously it's not tightly packed, when you push on this, it can catch on the end of this. So it's kind of one of the only things I dislike about that not being all the way down in a product like this. But I think that's pretty common in most of them. Yeah, here we go. This is the old Magic one. So you can see that they have the same problem. Oh, it is what it is. Again, it's not meant to be a super premium product. Yeah, here's the Pokemon one, same thing. So that's just, I guess, an issue with the type of product in general. I wish that it didn't have that little lip there. Anyway, all right, so that is cool. Welcome to the collection. So let's get into the product. This is a completely sealed brick of the Box of Greed. And it does have a pull tab, but we all know how notorious pull tabs are. There we go. Very nice. Beautiful. I've got at least 5 of you watching. Let me know who you are. Say hi. And if you guys are still hanging around, send me, yeah, say hi and then send me an email. What is it? WillardCardGamer@gmail.com, and let me know now that you were watching, and I should send all of you at least one card, one of these. That's actually perfect. There should be 5 of you here because it says 6 watching, and I'm one of them. There should be 5 of you, and there are 100 cards. And so what I had wanted to do was exactly that. I will roll off. This is perfect. I will roll off 1 of every 20 cards, and that'll be one of the cards that I give each one of you. So let me know who you are so that I know who to be giving the cards to. Say hi. All right, so Biana the Mystical. I believe that they included her for, yeah, it's going to be a little annoying. So we'll do, yeah. They included her for the Alliance format. I don't think they changed it. Here it said limited react. After Biana performs an action that killed an opposing character, she gains +1 level permanently. And so that is once per turn. After she performs an action that killed an opposing character, she gains +1 level permanently. She has the same stats and spend order once per game, performing a number of +0 range strikes equal to her level. So yeah, they did not change any of the information here. I do think she's only here because they perceived that she would be very useful for Alliance. Here is a quick example of the difference in card size, because Kingswood did change the card size so that we could use perfect fit cards. So they're slightly smaller. I don't know if you can see it, but it's basically a millimeter. Tiny, tiny bit smaller, but they are a bit smaller. So there we go. Card 1. Cardinal Broman. I don't think that they changed this at all either. After he enters play, another Deviating character, +4/+4/+4 until end of next turn. Yep, exact same thing. Just new formatting and an important card. Very popular card for many people. Now this one, Corrine Drac. She was one of the most hated changes. Her and Gednuri, there we go. They were some of the most hated changes in 4th edition. So this was the original one. She came in Epic Edition. And she was actually, I think, from Counterattack originally. And then this is the 4th edition version. So first of all, you can see that there's a difference in the edges from 4th edition. So that's super annoying because now we have 3 different types of cards, both in sizes and edges. You can see all 3 different ones. Show you quickly like that. Anyway, so yeah, so in 4th edition, or the original ones, Corrine Drac gets +1 level while in play. This does not affect her entering play. So basically, if she was a level 4, that would come in and become a level 5 immediately. And then after she enters play, perform an order. So basically, you didn't waste an order by playing her. The 4th edition version only changed the fact that she did not gain that +1 level, which made her normal, but not as powerful, nearly as powerful as she used to be. So we go back to, she gains +1 level while in play. And enter react, perform an order. So there you go. They fixed her. So we do not have the 4th edition version anymore. Now we have the old version. The same thing with Gednuri. This was a card that everybody hated, the change. So the original one was, after a melee strike or action targets one of your Deveranians, put Gednuri into play adjacent to the target, redirect the strike or action to Gednuri. So super powerful way to protect your characters. In 4th edition, they said react, after a melee strike targets a Deveranian you control, put Gednuri into play from your hand adjacent to the target. If you do, redirect the strike to Nuri, if possible. So essentially, they removed everything. So you could have redirected a melee strike, a range strike, or an action, and then they made it so that you could only redirect a melee strike. That nerfed him. He was still really good, I mean, relatively good, but that nerfed him a lot. And so we go back to, after a strike or action targets a Deveranian character you control, put Gednuri into play from your hand adjacent to the target. If you do, redirect the strike or action to Gednuri if able. But yeah, we go back to the old version of Gednuri. Now Justinian comes to us because Justinian is a very powerful card, and I don't think they changed anything about him. I just think that everybody needs Justinian. It's one of the more expensive commons, really. While in your discard pile, Justinian gains +2 levels, and then it's limited to react once per turn. After a die is rolled, add or subtract 2 to the die roll. Yeah, exact same thing. Very powerful card for Deveranians. And then we go on to that Champion's Warlord. Here we got one that's a little bit rough shaped, but yeah, Sir Alaron Dilchant. There are no changes here. He is just in the set, more than likely, A, because Kingswood still has a very good relationship with Jason, and B, because it is a awesome card in general for Paladins, and will probably be good in Alliance. Your Paladins gain Riding +5, your Storm Wraiths gain Riposte +5. Yeah, just awesome art, awesome card. Sir Rallin. So this is a funny card. This was a promo originally, and is still a promo. They did fix the little minor error there where the plus is negative versus what it should have been white. It was a Christmas promo. And it is also weird in that the two, we'll see the second one in a second, but the two off-class, so basically each faction had an off-class class, and so for the Deveranians it was the rogues. There were very few warlords that were rogues. And so Sir Rallin is one of 2, and the other one is in here as well. So you get both of the older off-faction or off-class warlords for Deveranians in this set. It's also not a very valuable card in general because these cards were very, very... Hey, it's Ed from Miami and LA, which has no warlord community yet. It'll come around, Ed. Keep the faith, you can do it. Yeah, so I don't think this changed at all. Your Deveranian characters have spend order, perform a range strike with a bonus equal to this character's level. The strike may not receive any other bonus to the roll. Chris Vack, famously, I think, won a couple of tournaments with this, is a strong character. And I perform 2 + 3, yeah, so there's no changes here. It is just getting this out to people. Shout out to Ed. Yeah, hopefully you get a community soon. So Saran Dilchant, here we go. We have hit our first chibi card. What do you guys think about the chibis? This is the first time that I really am looking at it in real life. I'm not against it. I'm not a huge fan, but I'm not also not, like, I don't hate it. I think that's the right way to describe it. It is cool that they have changed him, though. Did they change, what's his name? Sir Alaron? Nope. So Sir Alaron is only a human paladin. They made Saran Dilchant a human paladin knight, which is an interesting change because he was not a knight, and a knight is a new subclass thing that they have for Saga. That was nothing that didn't exist previously. Anyway, so it's interesting. May cast level 2 spells as a cleric, and while in the first rank opposing, yes, you see level 9. So they didn't change anything other than that. They did add something to him, so he is a knight now. Pretty cool. What is this? I'm Hotshot Master 72 from the Discord. I have a community where I am, so I'm trying to champion the game for my state. Awesome. Yeah, Warlord has always depended heavily on the players, for better or for worse, to champion the game. And the reality is, especially nowadays, with the amount of competition in the TCG business, it is really hard to launch a game. And so Kingswood is very appreciative, obviously, of the fact that there are so many passionate players out there that are championing the game, because it's impossible to do it by themselves. They are, while they are not as bootstrapped as Phoenix Interactive was, and they are leveraging a lot of the things that Phoenix Interactive did not have access to, like Kingswood. What's it called? Kickstarter. So Phoenix Interactive did not have access to a Kickstarter. They are partners, whereas Phoenix Interactive was a kind of one-man show. And social media is just in a whole nother level nowadays, and so that I think they're leveraging that very well. Yeah, so hopefully there will be more and more Warlord players. The reality is, if you jump onto the Warlord player locator, I check it every couple of days, and there are new pins every time I go. So there are more and more players every day, and it's only going to get much, much bigger. Again, it's not just being optimistic. It's knowing that Kingswood is doing a huge job at trying to get Warlord out there. The recent the recent podcast that they just released mentioned that they're going to now be doing the SCG circuit, so Star City Games circuit. And basically Star City Games does, I don't know if it's one big tournament a month in a different city all over the US. And apparently lots of small or new CCGs would love to be in that circuit. And so it's not something that's very easy for them to accept new games. And so somehow Kingswood has been able to get Warlord into that. And so starting in September, I think the first one is in Dallas, from now on, and they are going to be there. And so they're going to be teaching players. And one of the things that they're saying that allows them to leverage is that lots of players, when they compete, they get points, and they have to use those points on product at the product wall. And so a lot of people feel like they have to spend those points. And so they feel less bad about spending them versus actual cash. Those winnings from the games. And so Kingswood suspects that there will be lots of kind of splash over from players that just have a little bit of extra points and we're like, let's try a random new deck that costs them X amount that they're going to lose if they don't use anyway. And so yeah, that's kind of the hope, is that there's going to be a lot more exposure to the game and people playing it. So this is the second rogue Warlord that the Devranians had at the time, and also was very good. It is limited react once per turn. After an opposing character targets one of your Devranians with a melee strike or action, redirect the strike or action to another legal target. And limited react, after your Devranian character performs an action that redirected a strike or action, kill one of your Devranian characters, draw a card. Yeah, so I don't think they changed anything here either. Again, they just made it accessible to everybody. And this also came from Plane of Secrets, which is a very hard to find set. So yeah, that's definitely something that good to get out there. Now we have Alloy Gargoyle, which is a very strong gargoyle. I don't think they changed anything here. Cannot ready unless adjacent to a cleric, and it may not equip items. Unarmed, yep. And when you spent, yeah, exactly. So it's the exact same card, no changes, just giving people access to the cards. Here we've got Destruction. It is a very hard to find card from Light and Shadow. So it was an uncommon, but it's one of the more expensive uncommons that had ever existed. Here we've got Milkman says, I moved within the last year, so I have to change my pin on the player map. Maybe I'll get it my next day off. The player map, so one of the big changes that we did with the player map right now is that if you had an older pin, that pin you can basically inherit it and sign up. And so now by having an account on the website, you'll be able to manually move them around. In the past, there was just nothing you could do. You would have to email us and we would have to delete it and you could create a new pin. And so we wanted to make sure that was not sustainable long-term. because, yeah, it just requires so much back and forth, and people could just create multiple pins, and you ended up having bad data. And so the best thing is now that people can now grab their pin, and now they'll be able to move them as they move. And there will be a lot more of other things. Basically, yeah, there will be messaging. I think there's already messaging on the website. I just haven't had time to look at it yet. There's so much to develop. We'll get there. But yeah, sign up on it if you have the chance. Yeah, so Dwarven Barbarian Hero, yes. Unique, yes. I find it weird they included Unique on there. As far as I'm aware, originally heroes were epic. I wonder if they have not, they didn't make them epic anymore? I'm not sure. Because that would make it unnecessary to call it unique. Anyway, enter react, search your deck for a level 8 or lower item, equip it to destruction, then shuffle, yes. And after destruction, equips an item, ready him. Yep, they have not changed anything on it. So again, just access to the card, which is cool. Next one, Join of the Summit. This is a very good card, and it was, again, from Jason Engel, who was amazing. This came from the Battle Box 2. So that is actually also a very hard set to get sealed. I don't know that they would be worth as much as some of the crazier things, but they're definitely out there. So Join of the Summit, it is a +7/+5, 15 AC, yep, and it's just Warlord Dwarf. Limited react, before other target dwarf character equips an item, target is +1 for equipping the item, ready to target. Yeah, so super powerful. And he in particular goes really, really well with the Champions Dwarf. That was one of the things that Josh had always wanted to use, apparently, in he mentioned it in one of the podcasts 1 or 2 years ago, was that these two dwarves go really, really well together in Alliance. So basically, he allows you to search for a weapon, equip it to one of your dwarves, and your dwarves can equip and use items while stunned. And then he allows you to equip a dwarf with +1 level and then readying him. So you can equip an item to a stun dwarf in the front rank and ready it. So yeah, these two work very well together. All right, Limestone Gargoyle. This is another errata, or rather reverted card. So the original card here was, you must have a cleric in play to bring Limestone into play. Yes, that's still changed. Nothing changed from that. What changed here was the very specific detailing of the way you play the Limestone Gargoyle. Once per turn, reveal the top 5 cards in your deck. If one of those cards is a gargoyle of 5th level or less, other than Limestone Gargoyle, replace Limestone with that gargoyle. Shuffle Limestone and all attached cards back into your deck. This one clarified basically the timing of the replacement, because that was an issue. But the issue with this is that even if you don't find another gargoyle, you lose the Limestone, I believe. That's what the main thing was. Once per turn, reveal 5 cards from the top of your deck. Put a revealed non-Limestone level 5 or lower gargoyle into play adjacent to Limestone Gargoyle. Then shuffle Limestone Gargoyle and any equipped items into your deck. So if there are no gargoyles, you're still losing the Limestone. And that is what they reverted back to. So they have limited order, reveal top 5 cards of your deck, choose a level 5 or lower gargoyle revealed this way, replace Limestone with it, then shuffle Limestone and any attached cards. Replace Limestone with it. Choose level 5. Yeah, so if you don't choose something, then you don't replace it, I guess. Yeah, as far as I'm aware, that's what I understand, is that was the biggest issue with Limestone. So yeah, there's another one that they fixed from 4th edition. Here we have a Venetor. So this was from the Champion set. So I don't know that they changed anything here. I think it's just a really good card that people needed access. Spin a react after target dwarf equips an item, ready to target. Spin a react after target dwarf equips an item, ready to target. Yeah, so they didn't change anything. They just made it accessible again. So now there are 3 versions of her. The original, the 4th edition, and the Box Agreed edition. And now here is one of the stars of the box immediately. This is Nilrim. Anyone who's been playing the game for a long time knows who Nilrim is. Nilrim was, at least, probably still is, one of the most valuable uncommons ever. This was basically going for $50, $60 by itself. It basically impossible to find. It is from the Plane of Secrets set, and it's a card that you need 3 of in any dwarf deck. Or dwarf gargoyle deck. It is a dwarf, it is a seer, it's level 3 cleric, and he's a gargoyle. Your other gargoyles have +2 attack, AC, and skill. It stacks, so I mean, it's an abusive card. It's an amazing card. Everybody needed it +3, or needed 3 of them in the deck rather. He's a seer as well. At level 3 means that he can play things like Premonition and other stuff. So super important. People needed this. But this is still a very valuable card because everybody needs this times 3 if you're going to be playing Ancients. The next card is Opal Gargoyle. It is character Gargoyle. After draw phase, return Opal Gargoyle to your hand from play. After the draw phase, if Gargoyle is in play, return it to its owner's hand. React after an opponent passes, play Opal Gargoyle from your hand. If you control a cleric, ready target fighter with 1 printed strike. Yeah, this is super abusive. After an opponent passes, play Opal Gargoyle from your hand. If you have a cleric in play, ready a dwarf fighter with 1 printed strike. What is that abusive for? It is abusive for the next... Yeah, we'll get him in a second. Prophet. Very good level 1 dwarf. Just strong in general because he has stealth and he's an assassin. While in opposing formation, Prophet gains +4 levels for equipping items. Sigrida Valora is a Warlord that was very hard to find because she is from Epic Edition. So Epic Edition had starter decks. I'm still not sure if those starter decks are randomized or not in the Warlords. I believe they are. And it also had, actually I have them here, battle packs. Battle packs are random starter, they were like booster packs, but they had they were for drafting. They didn't work very well. People didn't like them because you couldn't choose the faction that you were going to play. Anyway, so basically in Epic Edition there was, it was a base set. There were like 4 Warlords per faction and only one of them was a new Warlord. And so, you know, the reprints are okay, but at the end of the day, reprints are reprints. People already had them. What they wanted were the new Warlords, and so this is one of the new Warlords that was hard to find. She's pretty strong. I think she's pretty underappreciated, and because basically after starting armies are revealed, search your deck for a Helm, Armor, Shield card of level 8 or lower and put it into your hand. Anything that gives you search, draw, anything like that, super powerful, especially in Warlord. And then order spend your Dwarf Wizard, equip an item, ready an item equipped to Sigrida, sorry. Yeah, super strong. Just the fact that she can search for whatever she wants, level 8 or lower. Very strong, very good in, it's going to be good in Alliance, I think. So just access for people. Here we go with another Chibi Warlord. Again, I don't hate it. It's not specifically for me, and I know there are a lot of people that definitely do not want them. I do like this as a reprint option, just because it's a great way to get cards, cheap cards into people's hands without ruining, you know, the collectability and value of the older versions of cards. There are going to be people that argue against it. Whatever. Everyone can have their own opinion, but I do think that this is a very safe and easy way to reprint cards for people with just a different art. I don't think there's any changes with this. This is just an insanely powerful card, one of the strongest Warlords in Warlord period. Yeah, just super, super strong and impossible to get because it is from the Stolen Destiny set, which again is very, very hard. Him alone was like over $100 as a Warlord in general. And still, again, still going to have a lot of value because a lot of people that are not going to want to use this card. And so yeah, that's what the Opal Gargoyle was very strong with, because you can basically use that to strike with him, ready with him. Yeah, ready target dwarf fighter with 1 printed strike. So he's a fighter with 1 printed strike. And that's what he loves. He loves to do lots of strikes. All right, this next card is a bit confusing to me. I'm not sure why they printed it, because they have specifically mentioned now that the Overlord and Dragon Lords that are in, so there's one of each in this box of greed, are not redeemable for challenges. I thought they would be, because that would be kind of like, oh, you know, cute. You kind of get a free challenge per one for a Dragon Lord, one for a Medusan Lord per person that orders one of these. But apparently they're not. I don't know. Anyway, so yeah, this is an Elf Overlord Undead Necromancer, Scribe +6. I don't see any changes here. React after he inflicts wounds with the spell. Target all characters in the wounded character's rank. Each one will succeed with a DC 20 or spend. Or stun if already spent. Yeah, same thing. No changes whatsoever. So I'm not really sure why he was reprinted. I don't see him as being super powerful in play. Like, in general, you don't play level 8 characters unless you have a way to cheat them in, and that's generally going to be a dragon. So that's why Dragon Drop exists, or the daemons from The Chosen. I don't really see... I'm probably missing something, but somehow, for whatever reason, they reprinted it. I thought it was for free challenges for people. All right, so that is the first 20 of the cards. So what we're going to do now is we're going to roll. we are playing Warlord, right? So we're going to roll, and that card will be number 10. That will be the first card that we're going to give away. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There we go. Alloy Gargoyle is going to be going to one of you. Thanks for watching. All right, off we go. Next one. So, Cathal Rowan. This is the second Warlord from the second battle box again, which are very, very hard to find. It's sealed, particularly. I don't see any changes here. It's an Elf Scout. Perform 2 consecutive +3 range strikes, and after he hits with a range strike, spend the target with a range strike. Just a strong pew pew Warlord. And again, from Jason Engel, so I know they have a great relationship with him. Here we go. We have Fade Athanas. It's an elf undead. I don't know what the change was here. Let's see. And to react after Fade cast a spell from your discard pile, then banish the spell. And then after Fade cast a spell from your discard pile, remove the spell from the game. Yep. I think this is just a reprint for something that they may have seen that was important for the game, for either Ancients and or Alliance. And he is from what set? Yeah, from 4th edition. So yeah, 4th edition cards are relatively hard to find. So here we go. This is the third chibi card. I do like the borders. The borders are pretty cool. I like that they are kind of full bordered. So Fade Rowan, one of my favorite Warlords. I really like Warlords that mix multiple classes, and he has a super specific deck that almost everybody has ever played, that played in that time, and that is the Fell something or another. I don't remember the card right now. But it's basically you can attach a Vorpal Blade to him and then use that to hit anybody in the game and kill them automatically. Yeah, so this is Fellblow. That's what it's called. Level 4 Necromancer only wizard spell. Anyway, so this, they didn't change anything here. He is all 3 classes. He has the same skill, AC, everything. He's ethereal, planar rather. Limited order, banish a elf character in your discard pile from a range strike with a bonus equal to the banished character's level. Yep, exact same thing. No changes. Just accessibility. And again, I love the fact that if somebody loves this, I'm happy for them. All for it. Lekra Sud. This is one of the most, I don't want to say janky because it's not bad. It's just one of those Warlords that's more complicated. It's not just a Hulk smash type thing, for sure. It's also one of the weaker ones because he has only 2 hit points. So most Warlords have 3, some have 4, some even have 5. It's very rare for them to have 2. And I think there's only one that has 1. I think it's Zartok has 1. Zartok should have been in here because everybody needs multiple Zartoks. Anyway, Elf Warlord character, Elf Summoner. He has Scribe +5, so yeah, no changes there. All the same stuff. And then here he says, order reveal a card from your hand, perform a Scribe check, DC 20. If successful, attach the card to a Sud, face down. You may play the card at any time as if from your hand. If unsuccessful, discard it. Ah, so he has double Scribe. That's what it is. So reveal a card from your hand, perform a Scribe check, DC 20. If successful, attach the card to the card face down. You may detach and play the card at any time as if from your hand. If unsuccessful, discard it. Not sure why it's attached face down, because you have to reveal it to your opponent. You know it's there. Like, it's a memory game, I guess, but yeah. So he can use Scribe twice, but he only has 2 hit points, so I don't... I know somebody did some crazy things with him. I don't remember specifically off the top of my head what it was, but yeah. It's an interesting card. So now we have Nanes. This is a card from Counterattack, and I don't know if there's any changes here either. Spend order, remove a number of cards in your discard pile from the game. Retrieve an item from the discard pile with a level equal to or lower than the combined levels of the cards removed and put it into your hand. Banish a number of cards from the discard pile. Put an item level number of combined cards banished. Yeah, no, nothing. I think that was mostly for an accessibility thing. I think that ability is going to be very strong, especially in lines where it's a singleton format. So if you lose a card, there's no chance of you getting it back. So anything that allows you to get stuff back from the discard pile is going to be very strong. And so I think that's why they reprinted it. Ramorna is a level 3 elf wizard. It was from 4th edition. She was printed twice. She was printed in the set itself, and then she was printed in the treasure chest, the foil. So she exists in foil. Yeah, creature elf. There's no changes to her stats. And it's once per turn, attach a card from your discard pile face down to Ramorna. Performing +4 range strike. This is a water action and a spell. So this is why this is so strong for her. Because she has a strike and it is a spell. Most range strikes that are printed on cards are not spells, and spells are very strong because they go through planar, which is a nightmare when you really need to kill something and it's planar and you keep rolling odd. Happens to everybody. Anyway, then you have react. Before she's killed, reveal all the face down cards attached to Ramorna, shuffle all revealed spells into your deck, remove all other revealed cards from the game. So this is awesome because she is a way to cycle spells back into your deck. And so if you are a very big spell slinger, this is super important, super useful. My only qualm with her is that she is super squishy, like most elves. She only has 1 hit point. Yeah, same thing, so no changes, just a new wording. Rotwing, some dragons. Everyone loves dragons, right? Again, Jason Engel, so great art. I don't see any changes to the stats. Unique and unarmed. Dragon unique, may not equip items. Ignore the spend cost of 1 spell per turn, so ignore the spell cost, yeah, and journey. So nothing, just accessibility for dragons. Tybast. So this is one of my favorite level 1 characters out there. I think it's really cool. I love this. What is it? Just like blue in Magic when you're doing things that really messes with the opponent. Again, it's not the only strategy, but it is a fun strategy that I think Warlord doesn't do enough. So this is while Tybast is in your discard pile, opposing characters suffer -2 skill, and it stacks. So you can have 3 of them in the discard pile, and your opponents have -6 skill. Only 1, obviously, if it is in Alliance, but still, interesting card. I love it. And Typheria does the same thing, except she does not stack. So that's the big difference here. And the other advantage to this, they cropped her a little bit, which is interesting. But at the end of the day, she was never available in non-foil. So this is the first time that we're getting her in non-foil. She was only available in the treasure chest. So super valuable, or relatively valuable, hard to find at all. And if you want it foil, you got to get it the old version. I don't think they changed anything. Here it's just while she's in your discard pile, if you control an elf warlord, opposing character suffering -2 skill, this penalty only applies once for all cards named Typheria. That's an odd way of saying it because here it said, while 1 or more Typheria are in your discard pile, if your warlord is an elf opposing character suffering -2 skill. I feel like that was much more eloquent than that. Anyway, so here, order once per turn, you may spend Typheria. Target character within 2 ranks must succeed with a poison save, 11 or 15 if you spend her, or suffer a wound. So, once per turn, being able to do a DC 15, it's a ball lightning, is cool. And again, she actually has 2 hit points, and the fact that she does 1 more Tybast meant -8 total skill for your opponents if you had 4 of them. So the 3 Tybast and 1 of them in discard pile. Next, we have the next chibi, Adarimi. This is important. It is pronounced Adarimi. A lot of people like to pronounce her as Adarmi. It is not that. It is the designer. So on the older version, you can actually see, I don't know if you're going to be able to see this at all on here, but on the bottom here, you can see that it was designed by Adam Wexler. He was my teacher in high school. And can't imagine you're going to be able to read that, but you can go on look online for a scan. Try and do that here as well, just in case this might work better. So basically, he designed the card. This is one of those sets. This is Call to Arms. Call to Arms was a set design. Oh, that actually worked pretty well. Sorry, there's a little bit of lag, so I couldn't tell. Yeah, that way maybe. Call to Arms was a really cool set because it was basically a set. There's 2 small sets in one, and it was designed by the players. So AEG got lots of suggestions from people to design cards. And so he had submitted a couple of cards, and yeah, he got her printed. She was very underappreciated at the beginning, and everybody realized after, I think it was even after 4th edition, maybe not. At some point, people realized that she was really strong. Anyway, so he designed her, and the name comes from him and his sister. I don't remember what his sister's name is, but I know that his name is Adam, and that's why it's Adarimi. Anyway, so it's minor pet peeve. A lot of people call her Adarmi. Whatever. I just know that the correct pronunciation from the designer is Adarimi. So yeah, no changes in her text here as far as I'm aware. It was just a reprint because she is a very powerful warlord. It is great to have her, great for people to have access to her. And again, I'm all for having different art. Not my favorite style, but it's a cheap version of the card, so it doesn't I think it's a win-win-win for everybody for the most part. Yeah, if you want the old art, you're going to have to find it, buy it, trade for it, whatever. If you just want to play the card, you've got a card. You could always just print, you know, a kind of a proxy version and have the real card behind it and be like, I have the card. So it's not like you can't not use it. Anyway, I don't know how legal that is, but like in a tournament setting. Next one is Ada. There are 2 versions of her. I don't know if they actually changed her from 4th edition to pre-4th edition. Characters adjacent to Ada gain +2 skill, while Ada's in your discard pile, your freedoms get +3 skill. +2 skill, while one or more is in. Nope, I think she was just reprinted because of access. I think they wanted her just to get +2. Yeah, exactly. So she is the exact same thing, no changes, just access to her so that people playing Alliance would have her. Next one, here we go. We have the art from the top of the box. One of my favorite arts in the game for sure. Albrecht. That is one I'm not sure how to pronounce, but there we go. That's my best try. So Albrecht is a very cool card. I had a deck with him from CE that I really enjoyed a lot. Kind of a blitzy deck, a lot of fun. It is interesting to see the difference in, obviously, the symbology versus the old version. I don't think they changed anything. I think they're just an accessibility thing. Yeah, remove a character from discard pile from the game until end of turn. Give a freaking character an extra melee strike with a base of +4. Can only target a character once per turn. Once per turn, per target, banish a character from discard pile. Yeah, so exact same thing. No changes, just accessibility. Next, we have Peyton Latham. He is a human character scout. I don't see any changes either. He has marksmanship, power attack, bonus to attack equal to his power attack, and a bonus to his range strike equal to his marksmanship, which is super strong. Range strike, yes. Limited order, once per turn, performing +0 range strike, let me target an additional range away. Yeah, super strong. Pretty expensive on the secondary market. Again, really hard to find. Generally, this is from Eye of the Storm, so not a crazy difficult set to find. But I do know that he's just a super strong character. It is a shame the colors are not as nice. The older version is definitely... It's brighter. I like the greens on here, but the character himself is a lot nicer in the older version. Anyway, accessibility. So now we have Rolando. Rolando is a character that came out in 4th edition in Crimson Coast. So that was a set that was set, like the setting was the coast itself. So there was pirates and all kinds of other stuff. Water stuff. The water elves were there as well. I don't remember what they were called right now, but yeah, they had a specific name. So he's cool because he is actually really good with Albrecht. So he has Enter React, target an equal or lower level character, move Rolando forward 1 rank, move the target forward or backward 1 rank. I'm surprised they didn't just say Journey. That was kind of the whole point of what they did, right? Anyway, so yeah, no changes here, just an accessibility thing. Now, one of the funny things here is that there's actually 2 of these in the game, functionally equivalent cards relatively, and that is this guy, Rollin Zinn. So he's a Free Kingdoms Mentalist, and he has, after he enters play, move up to 3 of your equal or lower level Free Kingdoms characters forward or back 1 rank. So he's obviously a lot stronger. But at the end of the day, having both of them is great for movement. Yeah. So this is not in the box. This is just a side note. Interesting to know that there's 2 very similar cards in the game. Shaden Aldar. I do believe that this has an MRP, or sorry, not an MRP, is an errata. That's what it is. So the text or the stats are all the same. It is a, yeah, here we go. He's reserved, which means that he can start. He cannot start in play. And then here he says enters play spent. If it is not your first turn, does not say that. There we go. Interesting. So they have Nightfall. If it is not the first turn, he enters play in rank 3 and has +3 attack, AC, and skill, and +2 hit points, and 2 additional strikes at +0 when he attacks. So I think that that's exactly the same. Yeah, no changes. And then spend order, return to your hand. Yeah, no changes other than he's reserved now and he does not enter play spent. Yeah, I don't see that. So cool. Next, we have a very, very cool Warlord. One of my favorites. I definitely enjoy him. He is the rare level 2 Warlord. He is from the Temple of Lore, which is very hard to find set as well. And one of the cards in here, anyone who has played this for a long time knows exactly what card, is very special for him. So he's cool because basically he has two very powerful abilities. A, he gets to move around when you play him. So he doesn't actually have to start in the third rank. You can put him in the second, or you can put him in the first rank. When starting armies are revealed, Seleucian may switch places with another of your characters. So you reveal the army, and you can put him in the second rank or in the first rank, whatever you want. Most people put him in the second, I believe. And then you have the react once per turn. After free kingdoms and your army kills an equal or higher level opposing character, that free kingdom permanently gains +1 level, 3 attack, 3 AC, 2 skill, and +1 hit point. So essentially, he has a once per turn leveled. You can then stack that with other actual leveled cards. There are now multiple versions of that kind of card, other than the basic leveled. And so essentially, you can make him very, very strong. The fact that he's only level 2 makes it really easy to level him and make him very powerful. And the fact that you do it once per turn means that it's also a relatively consistent ability that you can pull off. Very strong card, accessibility thing. Sir Robert of Andover. Now this is a errata, so this is definitely a change, and they changed the abilities. So originally he was your other free kingdoms in the same rank as Robert gain +2 attack. The ability is now your other free, oh no, it's the same thing, your other free kingdoms in this rank gain +2 attack, so it's the order then. Once per turn, target up to 2 free kingdoms adjacent to Sir Robert of Andover. Until end of turn, the targets have an additional melee strike +0 when they attack. And here it's ordered twice per turn, so you have to do it once per target now versus the 2 targets in one go. Twice per turn, target an adjacent, so it has to be adjacent. Target 2 free kingdoms, oh no, they are adjacent, yeah. Adjacent free kingdoms character has an additional melee strike base equals target's primary attack while attacking this turn. So I was in your first rank, the target may form an order. So it's a lot better now. Wow. Ah, and he got an extra hit point. That's even better. That's awesome. Yeah, he got a lot better, I think. Nice. It's great to see them physically. It's obviously so much more useful to have the actual card do what it says it needs to do. Yeah, twice per turn, target adjacent. Free Kingdom's character has an additional melee strike base equals target primary. Here it was a +0, so it's definitely much, much stronger now. Cool. So there you go. That's awesome. Next, this is one of the most, or was one of the most expensive common characters. This was one of 2 of the Bicycle Gang, is what they used to call them. So it was 2 Spencers and 1 Brother Domini. Essentially, you would be able to strike twice at +2s, and especially if you had Adarimi, you could strike twice at +4s with Spencer Latham. Super strong. Anyway, so yeah, it's just an accessibility card, strong card. They want people to be able to have it. The fact that you can get 2 strikes off from a level 1 is very strong. Trevor Magson. This is a Warlord that is very hard to find from Epic Edition again. I think this is the new Warlord for the Free Kingdoms from Epic Edition. I don't think there's any changes. I think it's just an accessibility thing. Yeah, I don't see any changes. Same thing. All right, so this is the coolest one. One of the few Warlords, again, that is level 2. So here you get the, what is it? The Drew Baker version. And we have a better view of him as well because he is zoomed out a little bit more, whereas the original one is more zoomed in. And now you can see again all of the classes, which is kind of funny. I don't believe there's any changes here. He is just everything all at once, and he has the once per turn. He permanently gains +4 attack, +4 AC, +6 skill, +1 hit point, +1 level, or any feat at +1 bonus. So he is basically just a blank slate. You can make him as big of a tank as you want to. And he has 2 different arts. So now he has kind of 3 different versions. This is the original one, which actually has an error on it. It says set. It is from... Oh, I don't remember what the name of the set is now. Whoops. Yeah, it's from a set in Campaign Edition. Can't remember for the life of me. And this one is the Epic Edition version, so he's the reprint in the Epic Edition. The non-reprint is coming up. So yeah, no changes, just aesthetic changes and accessibility. So that is going to be a problem because I've mixed them in. Whoops. We are at, there we go, that's what it is. So we are at the next 20. So we're going to roll for the next giveaway. That will be a 1. Well, there you go. Castle Rowan. He is card number 2 that we're giving away. All right, so we'll do that like that this time. The next card is a very powerful card. Anyone who loves dragons needs to have access to this. This is Alisara. Alisara is the best dragon rancher out there, basically. And the reason for that is because no matter what you draw, you don't really have a dead card that you can't really play. Obviously, you can do that with you have multiple cards, but at the end of the day, if you draw your Dragonlord and you can't play it, you just use her to find a card that you can play and continue the game instead of having dead cards in your hand. So yeah, reveal and shuffle a character from your hand into your deck. Search your deck for a character of equal or lower level than the shuffled character's level and put it into play, then shuffle. So yeah, super, super strong. So accessibility, that's for sure. There we go, starting the next pile. Now we have Bosun Blacknose, which is again from Crimson Coast. Again, pirate from the coast. This is accessibility again. This is a super strong level 2 character, and that is because he has a spend order. Perform +2 range strike. If a strike hits, spend the target before inflicting wounds. That basically nullifies Gunda, because Gunda gets stronger when you wound her. Yep. Thanks for coming along, Milkman. Yeah, I'm going to keep going, and if anybody ever wants to watch it, obviously this will be available online afterwards. Yeah, so this is the Bosun Blacknose, super strong, and it basically knocks out completely certain characters like the Gunda, because you can wound her, she can react, but she's going to die at the end of the game, or the end of the turn anyway. So she'll end up just holding the ranks, but she's super strong and dangerous from cards that don't do this, because she gets a lot stronger. She's a +3 melee strike, and with the wound she gets another +5, so it's a +8 as a level 1 character. Super strong. Next, we have the Demon of Kavar. Now this was a fixed, it's a minor thing that they changed with 4th edition. I don't know why they went that far to change it. But yeah, they basically went from, this is from the very first set from Saga, actual Saga of the Storm, the first set. Mercenary monster, spend order, perform a +8 range strike. If the strike is successful, the target is stunned instead of wounded. So we used to call him the, was it the poop thrower or something like that? Basically, kind of like, looks like a monkey, evil monkey. And then in 4th edition, they came back with him, but they said he's a +5 range strike, does not inflict wounds, strike hits, stuns the target. So it is now again a +8 range strike that stuns instead of wounds. They did not change anything else. They just reverted it back to a +8, which is nice, in my opinion. Makes it a little bit better. He's not broken, so I don't know why they would have changed that to begin with. Here we go. We have the 5th chibi, I think. So this is Fassalt, the person that had commissioned these on their own initiative. This is their favorite Warlord, so they were very excited to have this. Again, I don't hate it. I think it's fun, it's cool, and if somebody loves it, more power to them. This is also, I think, one of the only Warlords, if not the only Warlords, that has 5 hit points. And as far as I understand, they did not change anything on him. I think it's just a reprint with the new art. May not equip non-weapon items with traits. So essentially, he can't equip armor, he can't equip helms, he can't equip anything with a trait that is not a weapon. And he has the crazy ability that is, after Fassalt hits with a melee strike, target each character in the hit character's rank whose level is +8 or less than the natural die roll. Move each target backwards 1 rank. So there's no, like, it's just based off of your roll. Level +8 is less than the natural die roll. So if you roll, well, yeah, anything. Level +8. No, okay, so they're level 2. That +8, if you rolled an 11, then they would go backwards. That's what it is. It's a little bit of math, but at the end of the day, yeah, it's he loves playing this because it basically pushes everybody's ranks backwards. Super annoying, but a fun card to play, that's for sure. General Lund. This is a reprint for accessibility as far as I'm aware. There's no changes in the text. It's Charisma +4. Charisma is much better now. They finally... Charisma always... I think it's the one that's changed the most, and it was always kind of a meh thing, and now with advantage and disadvantage, Charisma really does help. It is here, spend order, target up to 2 lower level spent, not stunned mercenary characters, ready the characters. Here they made it a limited, so there's no way to kind of abuse it. Target up to 2 lower level non-stunned mercenary characters, ready each target. Again, I think this is going to be very good for Alliance accessibility. Next, we have Evus. Evus was it Campaign Edition's version of Torn Yiskar, kind of like we have Oracle in Saga now. Here, Torn Yiskar was very broken because he was not unique, and it was an order. And so this guy is both unique, and it's a spend or react. It is nice because it's a limited order. Look at the top 5 cards of your deck, so you can just look if you want to. And then the spend or react is after the fact. after looking at one or more cards in your deck, which means you don't even have to do that with his ability. You can do it with any other one. Discard a card, draw a card, or shuffle your deck. So good if you don't like the cards that are there. And I think that, I don't think they changed anything. I'm dropping cards everywhere here. No. 4th edition. Once per turn, look at the top 5 cards of your deck, return them in the same order, and then spend a react. After looking at one or more cards from your deck, discard a card, draw a card, or shuffle your deck. Yeah, I don't think they changed anything. It's just an accessibility thing. He's good. He's going to be like, he's like Torn, so when you do Alliance, you're now going to have access to Oracle, Evis, and Torn if you really want to get lots of draw, if you're a mercenary. Marcus Shaw. So this is the first of the very crazy expensive cards that definitely don't translate into this version of the print. Sorry. The reason for that is because this card was just super, super rare. Essentially, it was a promo that was only given out to they're called bounty hunters. That's actually why it's called a bounty hunter. So AEG, their program for kind of the volunteer TOs, so tournament organizers, they would call them bounty hunters. And so, yeah, they basically gave each bounty hunter one of these, and that was it. So that was the only way to get them, as far as I'm aware. They were not mass-produced. They were very hard to find, and most bounty hunters did not want to get rid of them because it was a kind of a badge of honor of like, oh, cool, I have this special warlord. Kingswood is very much against doing unique promos like that. They want to be able to give unique promos that are alt art, but they will not give mechanically unique promos in a way that would be difficult to get them. So this is definitely a accessibility card. I don't think there's any changes here. So at the start of the game, choose a faction. Your characters of that faction do not suffer a loyalty penalty. That's pretty cool. And Marcus can target your characters with charisma regardless of rank. Also pretty cool. Again, especially because charisma is actually useful now. Yeah, it's Bard. Most people, Bard is a very underappreciated and very loved trait by certain groups of people in the game. They really, really love Bards. Just like for example, I love Paladins. Yeah, super specific. Anyway, so there's no way, like these are roughly $200, were $200. I don't think anybody's going to be giving them up for lower prices, very low prices. These, I wouldn't expect this to be worth a whole lot. You know, maybe 20, 30 bucks, give or take, in the medium term, in my opinion. But there's just no way this will be nearly as much as this. And the reality is, obviously, the art is very similar, so this is going to be very desirable. Anybody who has this is just not going to want to sell it for such a low price. Just much rather sell this or hold on to the pretty rare version that you have. So that doesn't translate very well. And this is why when we were originally discussing the value of the box, the $2,500, give or take, is heavily dependent on that card and the very last card of the pile. But again, even if you were to remove even more value from it, you're still looking at 10x the value of what the box itself is going for right now. Next one is the Morgan Dadan. This is a cool Dragon Lord, but again, I find it weird that we cannot use this for challenges. I think it should be, but I think that as a gamer, or as a player, I think that you should be able to use it, but I believe that Kingswood is not allowing it to be used for challenges. I do like that they fixed that they misprinted this, as in the and is on top of the skill thing, skill diamond, and here it is not, but I don't think they changed anything else. They removed the fact that here she's both a Dragon Lord and an Overlord, which is dumb. She should only be one. The actual rules text overall now removes the Overlord, basically. They say if a character is both of them, then they're Dragon Lords. And so here you can see that they removed the Overlord from her text, but otherwise, no major changes here. There was a point in time where if you were playing her, you would not be able to play an Overlord in your deck. So yeah, that I guess is a good change. It's also funny that this actually has the mercenary border, whereas this does not. Your dragons lose unique and enter play in rank 3, so that's pretty cool. She's super powerful because of that. She basically, some of the Dragon Lords, the dragons, will come into play near the Dragon Lord itself, whereas because she fixes the rank, that means it doesn't matter what level the dragon is, it's going to come into play in the 3rd rank. Escape Egg. Marcus Shaw is listed for $140 at Geek. It's a $100 card, in my opinion. Yeah, the original one is definitely super expensive. And again, most people are just not going to want to get rid of it because of how rare it is, people are going to want to keep both of them. I know of at least one person that was really looking for that version. It's going to be a very niche card. There aren't very many of them, so that's fine. You know, it's I don't think it hurts it. It's going to hurt it a little bit because, you know, obviously it was more desirable when you could not get it any other way. But anybody who's going to be willing to pay good money for it is going to be doing it because they want that version of the card for their collection. Here, Limited Order, and she's also a really good Dragon Lord because she also creates dragons. So one of the problems when you're dragon ranching or dragon dropping in general is that if you're depending on having the Dragon Lord in play to have more than to have multiple dragons, more unique dragons in your deck, then you're running the risk of having a dead card in your hand if you don't have the Dragon Lord in play. So she's really good because she has the Limited Order. Put a card in your hand into play face down as a level 6 Evil Dragon Wizard with +9/+6 physical attack, 16 AC, 5 skill, 3 hit points, and limited journey. So that's pretty cool because, yeah, you can basically make token dragons, and I actually have those. I will be giving them out at Gen Con if you're going to Gen Con, and I will, if I ever give any of them as, if I give one of these away to somebody here on the stream, I will be giving you one of these as well with them. So this is something I downloaded many, many years ago, and somebody had made way back when the Temple of Lore was a thing. And it's basically just a token dragon. It seems like this was actually by Jason Engel, so it'll be funny to show it to him. I didn't even realize that it was his. But yeah, it's just a random token that I had downloaded something like 15 years ago, probably. Mercenary Dragon, order once per turn, so it just has the text that she gives. So yeah, if somebody wins this, you get that as well. And if you see me at Gen Con, if you happen to be going to Gen Con, poke at me and I'll give you one of them. Anyway, so yeah, so these are the differences. Ravika is the next one. She is from 4th edition, so she was a promo. She wasn't that hard to find, but she was relatively desirable. I don't think there's any changes to it, though. Mercenary, Defend, Guardian, Bodyguard, strikes that inflict more than one wound, only inflict one wound on Ravika. That's probably one of the biggest reasons. She's pretty strong. The fact that you can't, like that. There's a armor, level 7, Darkhide armor, that you can equip to fighters that does that exact ability, which makes it very hard to kill a character when you can only inflict one wound on it. And then here she has the limited react. Before target character suffers wounds from a strike, discard a card. The strike may only inflict one wound. If you control a mercenary warlord, you may reduce the wounds by 1 instead. Okay, that's cool because that means that you can both reduce wounds or strikes that do more than 1 wound, and if your warlord is mercenary, you can also then just reduce it entirely, which is pretty cool. And she has that as well. Here, once per turn before target character suffers wounds from a strike, discard a card. May only inflict 1 wound. If your role is mercenary, you may reduce the wounds by 1. Yeah, so the same thing. No changes, just an accessibility thing. A little bit of a change in a crop. I do like that this is a little bit more clear. So this is a very matte, and this is very glossy. So the art is really nice on this print. Though I do like that we can see more of the art here. But anyway, there we go. All right, here's another heavy hitter. We have Shadow Reaver. Someone here. Anyone know if Kingswood is giving out Warlord promos this year at Gen Con? Of course, Kingswood is doing. They actually, I posted it at some point, and they posted it as well, obviously on Facebook. They are giving out 3 different promos that we know of so far, and they're actually really good promos. So last year they had the alternate art sketch version of Lord Barrow. This year it's going to be Mare Haven. I believe that's the promo they give out for the top 8 in like the bigger tournaments, or yeah, the bigger events. I don't think they're going to be giving that out for just the random pickup drafts, which is a shame. It'd be cool to have more access to her. The other 2 promos are it's called Steel Forge Regalia. It's level 8 fighter armor, and then the other promo is I think it's the level 5 cleric. I can actually grab the link for you. Yeah, there we go. It's so much easier. There you go. If you have Facebook, that is the link. Yeah, the other promo is the Invoke the Storm. So the really cool level 5 cleric action that was kind of like the Avatar actions, and it creates the level 5 Stormlord that goes into the front rank. 2 +7s or something like that? Attack +8? No, that's AC. Yeah, I think it's 2 +7, something like that. Anyway, super strong cleric action, and so all 3 of them are very playable cards. I don't know if they're going to have any other promos available. I would assume they would, I think, but at least those. Leroy, don't feel too bad. There are people that go to Gen Con every year religiously. This will be my 4th Gen Con, which is pretty cool. I went to 2008 when 4th edition was launched, and then I went in 2022, and then I went last year and this year. So theoretically, the 2 launches, you know, last year was kind of the pre-launch, and there was a lot of drama involved in that. But it was the pre-launch for Saga, and then this year now Saga's really, really out and everywhere. So it is cool to have been able to go to both of those events, and then this year as well. Definitely make it happen if you can. I mean, YOLO, you only live once. So if I wasn't supposed to go this year. I was going to do something else, and that thing ended up not working out. So, you know, it is what it is. What is it? Find the silver lining in some of the things that don't quite work out the way they were supposed to. So yeah, I was just like, well, I'm going to go to Gen Con then. It'll be fun. I'm excited. So, Shadow Reaver, super heavy hitter. Shadow Reaver is like the most important, or one of the most important level 4 fighters, especially in Ancients, because it's a mercenary, so you can slot it into almost any deck. And Shadow Reaver was printed multiple times, and so you have the original print, which is the AA print. Again, I don't know if you guys are going to be able to see that there, but I'll give it a quick try there. And then over here as well. So AA was for Abyssal Attack. He came out first as a promo in the Abyssal Attack Overlord deck with Corteth. And then for whatever reason, I'm not sure why, but they printed him as a 3 hit point character in Siege. So he's got 3 hit points there. And then they reprinted him in the Stolen Destiny promo set with the 3 Destiny versions of Corteth. So Corteth was originally a level 8 Overlord, and then in the Destiny versions, there's a level 5 Warlord of Corteth, there's a level 7 Overlord, and a level 9, like, Super Overlord. Not quite a Dragon Lord. But anyway, so yeah, so they gave us a Shadow Reaver in that little kit. It's like a 15-card kit, which I guess you were supposed to use as a TO. I don't remember any specific information about that right now, but I know that that came in the kit. And then there's a foil version of the Shadow Reaver, which is one of the most desirable foils in the game. Very, very hard to find them. There are like 5 foils that are kind of the most important foils for the game. The Mass Blessing, the Shadow Reaver, the Blink Dogs, so the, I don't know what they're called right now, the, got it over here. Yeah, I pulled one because Penguin wanted one, so I've got one for him here. Jackals of Morn. Yeah. Mass Blessing, Jackals of Morn, Shadow Reaver. Oh man, struggling here. Mass Blessing, Jackals of Morn, Shadow Reaver, Torn, Yiskar. There we go. There's another one. And I feel like there was one more. I think it was mostly the Incinerate in foil was pretty hard to find. Yeah, so just some of the most important foils in the game. So, unfortunately, this is not a foil, but it is very nice, very important to get him, and I don't think there's any changes other than the fact that they finally made him planar, because the most recent version of his printing was still Astral, which was the Stolen Destiny, and that was pre-4E, so they made him planar now. There is no Astral anymore. The stats are all the same. After a melee strike, target Shadow Reaver, if the strike is 5 or less, it's a critical failure, same thing, and then once per game, attach a level 1 or 2 level wizard spell to Shadow Reaver while attached. You cast a spell once per turn as if from your hand, and as if he was a wizard. So yeah, same thing, no changes. Super strong. That's super desirable. Again, one of the best reasons to get the Box of Greed is because you get that card. I mean, that card has always been a $20 card at least, and over the past couple of years, as Ancients became more popular and the cards were getting harder and harder to find, he was becoming a €30 card, which meant $35, $40 as a single. The foil is obviously going to maintain its value. The non-foil, I would say, is still going to drop to a $15, $20 card at least, but like at worst. So yeah, there's just so much value in these boxes. The next card. This is one of the exceptions with the changes of the art. So the story here, again, very good relationship with Jason Engel and Kingswood Games. Jason Engel made this, and apparently Jason Engel didn't realize that this was going to be an important Warlord character. So the art description for this warlord was supposed to basically be a peasant. So he had no idea they were going to put him on a really strong warlord, and so he felt compelled to redo the art so that it would match the heaviness, heftness, I don't know how to call it, the strength of the warlord. On top of that, it is an errata, so it's good that you have the actual, reading the card, explaining the card type thing. They didn't change any of the stats, they just changed his ability. So originally the ability was, if Tavis is good, your characters gain +3 to all die rolls. If Tavis is evil, opposing characters suffer -3 to all die rolls, which is still the case. +3 plus -3. It's the react here. Before one of your characters performs an order, permanently change Tavis's alignment. So you got to basically change it whenever you want after a character did something. Now it's react after you pass, permanently change his alignment. So essentially you have to actively want to change this alignment and kind of forego your action. That's also not great because at the end of the day, if you're passing, then you're also risking your game because your opponent can then pass and then end the turn. So yeah, it was an interesting change. It makes him a little bit weaker, but at the end of the day, super strong warlord still. And it is very nice that it's a different art. It's going to be the same case. I think there's a case for this Tavis to be worth a good amount, but I don't think it'll be worth always as much as the original version, just because the original version is going to be so much harder to find. All right, here we go. We got to the Torn Yiskar, which is the card that I had wanted to check, and I don't see that he is epic, so they didn't change that. That was interesting. So it is still a Ancients-specific rule that he is epic. He is not epic throughout any other format with which he may possibly not be epic, which would really only be open right now, but you never know. They might change. There might be another format in the future where that is not the case. So here we go. This is the super unique, or one of the best cards. This is kind of the, it's not, value-wise it's not, but this is basically the Black Lotus of Warlord, because it is so powerful. And it's order, once per turn, discard a card, look at the top 5 cards of your deck. You may put one of those cards into your hand, put the remaining cards on top of your deck in the same order. So this is super powerful because essentially there are decks that allow you to shuffle. For example, Belial is a warlord that was super powerful way back then. So essentially you would play 2 of these, and you would use his ability, look at the top 5 cards, and you could decide to take something there. And if there was something useful, then you could do it again. If there was nothing else useful, you would use Belial's ability to shuffle your deck, draw a card, and then you could use his ability again, the other one rather, to be able to now look at 5 new cards that could be useful to you. So imagine having 3 of them out at any one time. And on top of that, to be even more broken, there was a level 1 character called Children of Yiskar, which used to, there was an errata, so hopefully they print those at some point to fix it. But the Children of Yiskar was basically, you could spend a level 1 character to return it from the discard pile to your hand. So the whole point of that in open was essentially, you would discard, pitch it for 1, and then you'd spend a turn, grab it, pitch it for the next one, spend the turn, grab it, pitch it for a third one. So it was just abusive. And this is why in Ancients it is epic. You can only have 1 of them in your deck. But otherwise, there are no changes to the card. Wait, where are we now? Okay, we're still good. And, well, Torn is, again, one of those foils that is very, 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 very desirable. It was only printed in 1 set, Black Knives. And other than that, it was never reprinted in foil, so very hard to find. There you go. All right. So, Vertigus. This is a, I was wondering, I didn't actually know what version they had printed. Vertigus is a dragon from 4th edition, so it wasn't very, it's actually probably one of the more common ones, but 4th edition in general wasn't that extensively printed. Anyway, it was available in 2 versions. There was the one that came in the deck, which was from Sands of Oblivion, so that was the 2nd set, I believe, right after the base set. And then there was a 4th edition promo version, which was the extended art. So it is nice to see that they did not print the extended art. I mean, interesting to see, rather. I don't, it doesn't change or affect me in any way. They're actually both equally rare. In a way, actually, this one was rarer than the promo, I think, because you could only get 1 in the actual deck, whereas the promos, I think you could get multiple in certain promo packs. So in a way, this is kind of the rarer version. Whatever. Anyway, so Mercenary Dragon, unique, unarmed journey. I don't think there's any changes here. I think they just wanted to be able to get this dragon out to people's hands. Spend order, perform +7 range strike. Orders may perform +7 range strike against any characters that were adjacent to the target of the first strike. Spend each character hit by these strikes. Yeah, that's super cool, super powerful. Yeah, there you go. I think that's just an accessibility card. All right, Artek. This is Josh's favorite Warlord. I think almost everyone knows this. He actually made a, I don't have it with me now, but he made a, what's the word? Proxy version of it with him as the art. Yeah, he really enjoys this Warlord. It is funny that they have actually made him an orc. I just noticed that. So here, it's just Nothrog Warlord, Power Attack, Elite Krun Guard. And here he is Warlord character, Orc. I like that. So there's a little change there. Discreet, but it's there. And then order, move forward 1 rank. So he does not have it once per turn. And again, no changes to the stats. Same thing. Great art. I do like this art better because it is a little bit lighter. This is quite dark. All right, the next art we have, or next card, is Durga. I don't know if there's any changes here. So let's see. The original one was Death's Bargain. Once per turn, remove a character in any player's discard pile from the game before a melee strike. Order once per turn, remove a character in another player's discard pile from the game before a +0 melee strike. So they nerfed her. So here, in the original version, you would do a +2 range strike, or melee strike, sorry. In the 4th edition version, it was a +0 melee strike. And then banish character from another player's discard for a melee strike, so they brought her back to what she was originally. It's a minor difference, but when you're level 1, a +2 is a big difference. And especially when your AC is 9, it is annoying. Yeah, it was dumb. All right, next we have, I mentioned her earlier, we have Gunda. So here I've got 3 versions of Gunda. Gunda is just a super powerful level 1 character, one of the best level 1 characters for especially Nothrogs. So she was foil in the treasure chest. It's one of the few sets that had common and uncommon foils other than some special promos, and then the one set, Light and Shadow, that had a few commons and uncommons. So up until Saga, which now has every card available as foil, it was very hard to find. You couldn't foil out an entire deck previously, and now you can. So yeah, that's a good thing for the foil fiends out there. Anyway, so I don't think they changed anything from 4th edition here. I believe it was the same thing. Once per turn, before Gunda suffers wounds, she gains +5 attack, hit points, and level until end of turn. Once per turn, after suffers wounds, Gunda gets +1 until end of turn. Yeah, it's the same thing. No changes. I believe, unless I'm missing something. And then here, yeah, before Gunda suffers wounds, she gains +5, +1 AP this turn. Limited react, yeah, so it's still once per turn. They did change her. She is an orc. She was a barbarian, but she was not an orc previously. So now she's an orc. All right, next we have Kothka. Kothka is from the Call to Arms, which again is a very difficult set to get, specifically because it's 2 different sets. There was Power and Glory, and I believe Power was like, I think Wizards and Fighters. No, that's actually super confusing because it could be either. And the other one was Wizards and Fighters, and one of them was Rogues and Clerics. And so, for the most part, I don't think it was 100% perfect. But yeah. So here we have the extended art, which is pretty cool. Different version. Extended arts did not exist with this yet. Again, an orc. He wasn't an orc previously. Here it said unique because back then you could actually use more than one Warlord. You cannot do that anymore since then, basically. And it is order once per turn. Look at the top 5 cards of your deck. Put one of the cards into your hand and discard the remaining cards. Top 5 cards of your deck. Put one of those cards in your hand. Yeah. So this is just an accessibility card, and it's pretty cool that they made extended art. I wonder why they chose to do it with this one and not with some of the other ones. But very powerful card. The fact that you can draw 5 and just pick something is great, and especially in a format like Alliance where you have a much bigger deck, this is more theoretically forgiving, especially if you have stuff that can cycle cards back into your deck. And with Alliance being able to choose different factions for your deck to be the same faction, theoretically. So like you could have an Elf Warlord and a Nothrog Warlord, and then all of your cards are both Elves and Nothrogs. So yeah, lots of ways to be janky about this. And this was designed, by Roy Hembry. I wonder if he knows this got reprinted. I might have to send him one. I have to reach out and say hi to him. All right. Yeah, I believe he was Green Destiny on the Temple of War. Very famous player way back then. Now this is the thing that I think surprised most people. Most of us weren't aware why this art was changed, and I'm not 100% sure why. I'm not sure if this was in a different, it has to be, I think that's why. I think this was in a different piece of art and it was just a zoomed in version. AEG did start to do that a little bit at the very end of their tenure. So this was from 2007. This was literally the last set from AEG, Light and Shadow. And so there is a completely new art for Nemtuk. I believe this is both an accessibility reprint, and also there was an issue with the art. They chose to make it or fix it. It is the same artist, so I'm not 100% sure specifically why they changed it, but yeah, Veronica Jones made the art on both of them. So Daybreak, Orc Druid, Nothrog Druid, so it is a Nothrog and an Orc. Daybreak, if it is the first turn, your Nothrog inflict an additional wound melee strikes, super strong, and then Nightfall, which means second turn over, or afterwards, and on, second turn and on. Nightfall, if it isn't the first turn, your Nothrog in this rank gain power attack +5. So yeah, the Daybreak part is super strong if you're going to be a Blitzy Nothrog. Alright, now we have Sauron. Sauron was one of the last cards that was kind of broken in Ancients before Saga came out. So the Ancients community overall, I didn't really play against it, but I was aware that the Ancients community overall had found a couple of different ways to make Sauron super broken. And yeah, I think they would just end games with him often. And so he has spend order, target your ready Nothrog character in the 5th rank or higher. The target performs an attack with each strike targeting a character in an opposing last rank. This turn, characters in opposing last ranks may perform melee strikes against the target as if they were in the adjacent rank. So they would be playing Kratchkahuk, I think is how I always pronounce it. It's a level 5 character that basically does 2 wounds, and he's got like a +15, +7 or something. And so if you were able to throw him down, use him, and attack an opposing Warlord, often that would be game over. Yeah, so super strong. Alright, so now we're at Sethusk. Sethusk is an OG character. He came out in Saga, the original set, Saga of the Storm, and it is a level 4 Nothrog Krun's Legion. Spend order, draw card, and here he's an Orc, so I don't see any other changes from that. And he was reprinted in the 10-year anniversary set, so he's in that kit over there. And I'm seeing that there's an error there. I didn't even notice that originally. That looks like an ampersand on the and sign, and it should have been a 6. So that was an oopsies. I don't see anything else. Yeah, just spend order, draw card. Very basic, but super strong. Drawing cards is very strong in Warlord. Alright, so that is time for the next giveaway. So if we get the Dragon Lord, then you're getting a token. 18. So that should be then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. The Nemtuk. There we go. The new art Nemtuk for somebody. Alright, we're almost done. Next, we have Teoth. So this is, I believe, the last Chibi Warlord. And so I have both arts. This first one was the original version of Teoth, and then she was reprinted in Epic Edition, and she got a very different version of her. I think they're both really good. This is obviously much more fantasy. It's a lot more realistic. Sorry. But she's a shaman, and that's cool because now the, what's it called? Kingswood is going to be supporting shamans a lot more. There is at least one card that was a shaman in Saga, and they have mentioned that they will be doing more cards like that. I don't know that they changed anything from her. I believe, I thought they had, yeah, they nerfed her. There we go. They brought her back. So in Epic Edition, for whatever reason, they dropped her one AC. I remember there was like one stupid number that had changed, and it was just that. So she went from 13 to 12, and now she's 13 again, which I guess is a good thing because she's not particularly powerful, so it's better that she has more AC. And in reality, also, this is the rarest version of her. There are not very many of them. This Assassin's Strike version, there's definitely tons of them. So most people would have this version anyway. So there you go. Yeah, I don't hate it, and I'm glad that other people have access to it now. All right, so this is definitely a repaired, a fixed text. I don't remember what it was. but I know that people were annoyed by this. So the original text was, from Eye of the Storm, Verusk. I don't see any changes to the numbers. It is just the text. React once per turn after Verusk hits with a melee strike or a Nothrog rolls a critical success on a melee strike. Perform 2+8 melee strikes that inflict an additional wound. Once per turn after Verusk performs a melee strike that hit or a Nothrog rolls a melee strike that was a critical success, perform a +8 melee strike that inflicts an additional wound. There you go. So it's 2 versus 1. And now it is back to 2. Yeah, that's a big difference. Again, 4th edition was a super nerfed, what do you call it, like season of Warlord. And so, yeah, they did a lot of things to try and make things a lot less powerful, just to slow things down. But then that ended up being super boring, unfortunately. Games would be a slog. You could go an hour and not have anything really change. So that was relatively annoying. So yeah, this has been fixed. MRP. All right, so we finally got to one of the other major hitters. We have Mass Blessing. There we go. So this alone, this is the 10th anniversary version. There we go. So this is the original version. This is from Black Knives, rather. So it's the second reprint. Order once target 1 rank in your army until end of turn. All characters gain attack and AC bonus equal to this cleric's level while in that rank. Order target 1 rank. One of your ranks. Characters gain a bonus to attack and AC equal to this character's level while in that rank. For this turn. Yeah, this turn. So yeah, no changes. It is just a reprint with an extended art, kind of different version of the art. It definitely, the text, rather, it takes up more space. The art space, the art box is bigger in the new version of the text box. Here they did a +X thing. Target a rank in your formation. While in that rank, all characters gain +X attack and AC, where X is this cleric's level until end of turn. Yeah, I'm okay with either of them, really. And Black Knives was the only set it was printed. Yes. Haley Hitchcock, yes, I'm very happy that the game is back as well. And back with a lot of strength. Yeah, this is, yeah, see, this is cool. In this version of the art, you can see that the art ends over the soldiers. And over here, you can actually see the end of the rest of the tunnel. So you can see kind of the encompassing of soldiers. So definitely, I couldn't tell the full differences, but yeah, you can see a bit more of the roof. So there's a bit better view of the art. But anyway, so yeah, this is one of the super ultra rare foils because it's only available from Black Knives. Very hard to find, but this alone, again, $20 card. Every day, all day. There's just, everybody needs 3 of them. And yeah, if you can get it for cheap, absolutely get as many as you can. Well worth it. Next card is Minor Miracle. So this was a card that was only available in the treasure chest in foil, so this never existed in non-foil, so that's pretty cool. Now we have it. And it is, each of your characters may only perform 1 Minor Miracle from your hand each turn, and react before target character suffers wounds, reduce wounds by 1. Each of your characters may only perform from your hand each turn before target, yep, so it's the exact same thing, no changes, just a availability thing, very hard to find in from the treasure chest, so yeah, and now there's a non-foil. Which again, also doesn't really hurt it in any way, it's great that there's more of them. Soothing Waters. This is cool because they have updated the elementals. So originally this was a water thing, which was a 4th edition thing, and now in 5th edition, or Saga, they have now changed water to frost. So it is cool that they have reprinted them so that it has the right term. Here we have react before target character you control suffers wounds. Inflict a wound on a different character, reduce the target's wounds by 1. Before your target character suffers wounds, inflict a wound on a different character. So yeah, so it's the same thing as a sacrifice, basically. But you can put it on somebody else. Whereas sacrifice has to be on yourself. So that's kind of an interesting take on that. And then the second one is react. After this cleric performs a water action, target up to 3 characters you control, remove a wound from each target. Performs a frost action, target up to 3 characters. Yeah, so super cool, super useful, and relatively hard to find from City of Gold. So yeah, great. Next is one of my favorite cards, Tree Walk. I love Tree Walk. I've always loved Tree Walk. I think it's great. It's such a surprise when it happens. So this is, Druids play this as a 2nd level spell. Druids play this action as if it were level 2. Spend order, target 2 characters in your army. The target's character switch places. Target 2 characters in your formation. Target switch places. Characters you control information. Yeah, so exactly the same text. No changes. Accessibility. Such a janky card. I love being able to do this with a level 2 character in your starting army. Dropping something in the 5th or 6th rank and then switching it out with a level 1 all of a sudden. Just, yeah, such a fun moment. Next is another very valuable card. It has become more valuable over time. People have realized how important drawing cards is, and that is Loyalty's Reward. This came in the first set again, Saga of the Storm, and was reprinted in Black Knives. So this is also very rare in foil because it only came out in foil in Black Knives. And there are no changes. It's just a level 4 fighter action, spend order, draw 2 cards. Here we have another card from the treasure chest. This is the Massacre. It was only available in foil, so now we have a non-foil of it, and I don't think there's any changes. Level 4 action, react. After this fighter performs a melee strike that killed an opposing character, target any characters that were adjacent to the target of the strike. Each target must succeed with a dexterity save, DC 5 plus this fighter's primary attack, or suffer a wound. Yeah, exact same thing. So it's just a way to do more damage, more wounds to more characters. And if you have characters, then it's generally for Nothor. Obviously, when you're adding like +5, or sorry, +12 or something on your primary attack, plus whatever other things, weapons and stuff, that's a huge, huge difference. Easily, it could be a DC 20 or suffer an extra wound, so that's cool. Next, we have one of the more powerful cards in the game and in this box again. This was a $100 card alone. So this, hands down, is a $20+ card. Obliterate, super strong card. Again, spend order. If this fighter is in your front rank, target up to 2 non-warlord characters within 2 ranks. Perform a melee strike against each target. If the strike hits, move the target forward 1 rank. If possible, perform an attack without spending. Essentially, this gives you 2 extra strikes with reach for free, and they pull them forward. So if your opposing warlord is running away or is a non-front rank warlord in the 2nd rank, this gives you the opportunity to kill them. Or it gives you the opportunity to just destroy their ranks. So if the opposing warlord is in the 3rd rank and you have 2 level 2s or something, you can bring them down, destroys the ranks, they fall forward. I don't think there's any changes. If this character's in your 1st rank, target 2 non-warlord characters in 2 rank. Oh, you can't bring the warlord forward, sorry. Perform a melee strike against each target. If the strike hits, move the target forward 1 rank, perform an attack without spending. Yeah, so still super strong. 2 extra strikes with reach. All right, Slow March. Strong card. It is order. On each of your orders this turn, if this character is not in the front rank, skip that order and move this character forward 1 rank. So this is essentially the same thing as Artek. That's what his name is, yeah. You just basically go all the way forward. So if you're playing high-level cavalry, which basically means you're playing level 4, 5, 6 fighters, big guys, you just play this and you get all the way to the front rank without spending or stunning, and yeah, you can strike on that turn. So, cool card. Assassin's Arrow. This is a very rare card from also Call to Arms that was reprinted in the 10th anniversary set. It is react, play before this rogue makes a range strike roll targeting a spent opponent within 2 ranks. The strike is a critical success and inflicts an additional wound. There are almost no spells like this, or actions rather. So this is basically assassination, but for range strikes. Before it makes a range strike, it's a spent character in 2 ranks. Yeah, same thing. Yeah, basically guaranteed. It's like a backstab, but for range strikes, and yeah, guaranteed. So 2 wounds. And obviously, if you've got marksmanship, you can add additional wounds and other cards, and so it can be very, very strong. So here we go. We have 2 cards now that were from the treasure chest, again, unique to that set. So this never existed in non-foil. Here we have it in non-foil now. Slash and Lunge. This is probably one of the weaker ones. It is react after this rogue performs a melee strike that hit, perform a melee strike against a spent character in their rank that was behind the target of the strike. Not a bad card, but again, they have to be spent. Melee strike against a spent character in the rank that was behind the target of the strike. Yeah. Not bad, but again, it's heavily just contextual. If there's nothing spent in the rank behind it, then it's just a dead card in your hand. Conjure Storm. This is one of my favorite cards. I really, 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 really enjoy playing this card because I love being able to chain it off of the next one. So Conjure Storm, again, was from the treasure chest. Never existed in non-foil, so now it exists in non-foil. It originally was earth and air, and now it's lightning and physical. So basically, air became lightning and earth became physical. It is a level 4 spell, and it is spend order, perform a +8 range strike that inflicts an additional wound, and then perform a +4 range strike against a target 3 ranks or more away. So I do really enjoy the fact that this can hit anything anywhere, which is what I liked about it. And then moving on to the next one, it has react after this character performs a lightning action, like the one we just saw. Target up to 2 characters within 2 ranks. Each target must succeed with a magic save DC 15 or suffer a wound. The first strike or first ability is not as good, in my opinion. It's a spend order, perform 2 +4 range strikes that may target an additional rank away. It's not bad, but being able to chain react, chain damage, chain things as a wizard is pretty strong. It's kind of hard to do lots of strikes and lots of damage in one go, and so I really enjoyed the fact, like, if you have 2 of these in your hand and 1 of those, pull that off, you could theoretically kill 6 characters. So yeah, pretty fun. Now we get Icy Surge. This was a very good uncommon from 4th edition, and it did come in the treasure chest as well. And so we have just a new version of it. I think this is an accessibility thing. I don't think, and well, also the change of the text. Originally water, now it's frost. For a +5 range strike. After the strike, the target must succeed with DC 12 or spend. Awesome. One of the best things about this card is the fact that it's so flexible. That's what I really like about it, is that if you have spend orders, then you can just do the order, and you get a +5 range strike with an ability to spend that character. 2 things off of 1 is awesome. But if you don't have any other spend orders, then you can make a really strong version of that strike, which is the +8 range strike. After the strike, target must succeed with a magic save DC 5 plus his character skill or stun. So it's a lot stronger in both the +8. I played it out of Saga Kish, which gives bonuses as is. So yeah, doing a +10 or +12, and then a +9 plus whatever his skill was, 8 or 9 or something like that. It can get there. Doing a wound and stunning a character can change the game. We are there. All right, almost done. All right, the next card is another card that is $20 all day, every day. It is Incinerate. A lot of people need this. This has not changed. The text is still a fire. So yeah, what do you call it? The arcane thing is fire. And it is, just a order. Same thing as what I just said in the previous one. It's the ability that if you have a better spend order, then you could just use this as an order, +6 range strike. Not bad. And especially if your wizard is fire inclined, then you can get extra bonuses from this. And if you don't have a spend order, do 2 +9s is pretty strong. It's not amazing, but pretty strong. And again, it was available originally in the base set, which was super hard to find. It's from APS 3, I think it was, with Diablo the Kindled, I think it was the name was. So the non-foil is very hard to find, and the foil only came in the treasure chest. So in general, both of these very expensive. So this is a $20 card all day, every day. Venom Bites. This is a card that I really enjoyed. I don't think it was crazy rare, and I don't think it was crazy expensive, but I like the fact that it has multiple abilities. And again, here we have physical. It used to be earth. It is a react. Before this wizard kills target opposing character, until end of turn, characters in the front rank of the target's formation gain the poison trait and suffer -2 attack and AC. If this wizard is a necromancer, you may put 2 level 1 characters from your discard pile into play, remove the target from the game after it dies. So I love the recursion theme and ability in general, and I don't think, nothing has changed. 2 level 1s, and banishing the opposing character, which sometimes is super useful, especially if it's a deck where, like the Free Kingdoms, where they have things that either give bonuses or they can use those dead characters to do stuff, or if you're opposing a elf deck with things like Tybast, where that's going to hurt you while it's in the discard pile, you can get rid of it now. So yeah, I really like that. Back Alley Tavern, one of the most famous cards in Open and Ancients in general. It's for draw, super strong. If your opponent is not playing any draw, at least you still get to use it to get draw. And then if they are playing draw, you can use it to get even more draw. You can get 2 cards for free without spending. So it's good or better. I really dislike some cards that have 2 abilities where one of them is okay and the other one's just bad. This is it's never really bad to draw a card. It's basically a cantrip. You're discarding one card to draw a card. You have to spend, so it's not great, but at the end of the day, again, being able to draw 2 cards for free off of the opposing player drawing cards, very strong. This was very underappreciated when it first came out, I think. Stolen Destiny, super strong card right now, also at least $10 every day. It was pushing, I think it was 25 euros for a while with Card Game Geek. You can only get it from the Stolen Destiny brick, and you got 3 of them, so you got 1 playset, and that's it. They are strong because you can basically get rid of a level 1 character and take over something super strong from your opposing army. Spend order to target non-warlord character within 2 ranks must succeed with a destiny save of DC 15, or this character is killed and you permanently gain control of the target. There are lots of high-level fighters that have very bad skill, and so, yeah, a DC 15 off of, you know, a +2 or 3 or whatever can really change the game. Especially if your opponent is just not expecting it at all. If it's holding ranks, whatever. All right, we're getting to the items now. Figurine of Protection. So the figurines have come back in this box. Again, these are super valuable. Figurines themselves are so hard to find. Most people, I don't know if anybody knows about them, they are marked as promos, but they were not promos. They came in the decks of Dragon's Fury, which is impossible to find sealed nowadays. So they are very, very rare. They were basically the fixed cards in the decks for Dragon's Fury. Basically, there was one for each, what's it called, class. Put figure impression to play adjacent to this character as a, yeah. And they had an errata. So the erratas basically, they became the class that they were supposed to be originally. I don't think it was a mistake that they were printed this way. I think that they didn't realize how powerful it was. Basically, what people did is that they were using 3 of each figurine in a deck as items, which then became characters, so your deck generally almost had double the number of characters that it could have possibly had, which is pretty broken because characters are really strong in the game. Anyway, so they basically restricted it to just the class. So now essentially you can only really use 3 in your deck of any one, unless you're a dual class, then you can use 6 of them versus the 12. This is definitely the best one in general because it allows you to heal when adjacent to other characters that don't want to die. So like your Warlord. So it's pretty cool. Again, accessibility thing, and obviously they're fixing this minor issue of not knowing that it was a cleric action, or item rather. And it no longer was. All right, so we are now down to, this is the penultimate set of 20, so let's roll for the next giveaway card. See what you guys get. 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There we go, Loyalty's Reward. Great card. And so here is an example of a risk, only 3 skill. Off of a 15, you gotta roll 12 or better, or you become your opposing Warlord's character. All right, last 20. So whoever is still watching, make sure that you send me your contact info. It is warlordcardgamer@gmail.com. Send me your contact info, and I will send you one of these. All right, next card, Mollusk Helm. So this is a cool helm. I thought it was really neat. This ability is the same thing as Grahilga. There was a level 5 promo from way back when. It's spend the Mollusk Helm. Each player reveals the top card of their deck. You choose whether the cards are all drawn or discarded. I think that's pretty cool. Did they do that here? Yeah, all players. So this is a group hugging, and this is definitely something that they wanted to have for Alliance, because now if you're playing with 6 or 8 people or whatever, everybody does this. So that's pretty cool. This is a very powerful card. Again, also easily $20. This was from the treasure chest, so it did not exist in non-foil originally. So now we have the non-foil version. I don't think there's any changes to this functionality, really. I think this is just an accessibility thing. This character gains +1 level for scribing and casting scribe spells. After this character casts a scribe spell, banish it. Yeah, room for the game. And then limited order, succeed with a scribe check, DC 22, to attach target cleric spell in your discard pile as if scribed, otherwise banish it. This character Scribe spells as this character. Yeah, so you're only banishing the scribe spell. So this basically allows you to use each spell that you have in your deck twice. Use it from your hand, and then you can grab it from your discard pile. Once per turn. Just trying to get something. Once per turn, choose a color. Yeah, so no changes. 22. DC 22, and that's it. So very powerful card. All right, we have the next figurine. This is the fighter one. So again, the original. All right, we're almost at the end here. Fighter figurine. I don't think there's any changes. I see DC, skill, 5 skill, 15 AC, 8 attack, 2 hit points. Yep, no changes. Just that now we have the actual fighter symbol, so it's a fighter-only card. Next, we have one of the most powerful steeds in the game that everybody wants as a fighter. And again, in foil, super rare, super hard to find. It was only printed in Betrayal, one of those random, really good cards in a kind of a random set. Heavy Charger. It is a steed, and it is a +1 hit point steed. There are very few very few steeds that give hit points, and obviously as a fighter, that's a very positive thing. And then it is order, spend the heavy charger to move forward 1 rank. So just the very basics, a little bit of attack, extra hit point, move forward. Accessibility thing, great for people that need that. Next is the Dark Horse. This was a very good steed from 4th edition. It was spend the Dark Horse, move forward 1 rank. If this fighter moved, he gains +3 attack until end of turn. Same thing. So just a super useful, blitzy, level 5 steed. Great for Zod, because he can search for it since it's level 5. Here we have another steed. Continuing the trend, we have Wyvern Steed. I don't think there was a change between 4th edition and original. Nope. Yeah. Same thing, level 8, 2 attack, and riding +5, and it is Journey. Riding +5, Journey, same thing. So the only difference here is that we see more of the steed. So it's kind of a horse there, horse dragon, kind of strange. Here we never saw that. So that's, I think that when they were showing it originally on the Kickstarter, I think we might have seen the whole art, and everybody was kind of like, that's really weird, because it just looked like an actual green horse with a dragon head. I'm 90% certain that I had seen it at some point, and so I guess they decided that, yeah, it was a little extra strange, so they kind of cropped it again. Anyway, accessibility. Very good card. Most fighter steeds do not go forward or backwards. They just go forward. So this was one of the rare steeds that allowed you to move back as a fighter. Black Steel Daggers, one of my favorite weapons. I used to run this in the Altbrecht, so the Angel, my Angel deck, because he's level, 3? So he could only equip it in the 3rd rank playing, but super strong. During melee strikes targeting spent characters, this character gains +5 attack and inflicts an additional wound. So basically it is a permanent backstab versus opposing characters. Super strong. Great reprint. It was an uncommon, very strong uncommon. All right, we have the 3rd figurine. This is probably the weakest of them all, the Rogue one. After Jason character start with the striker action, redirect the striker into his character. Yeah, it's kind of like the Devernian stuff, but it's a rogue. So no changes, just the card reflects the errata. This is a very interesting steed. This is Giant Toad from 4th edition again, and +1/+1, so +1 attack, +1 AC is pretty cool. It is a rogue steed, and this is a very cool steed, especially for, Alarin, because you can move twice. Limited order, move forward 1 rank, and limited order, move backward 1 rank, or just in general. Also great for Hawthorne, I think it was. So obviously Cloud Racer is the best, but at the end of the day, you also still have to discard to use Cloud Racer multiple times, whereas this allows you to move twice. Accessibility thing, it is an uncommon, but a very good uncommon. All right, we have Perpetual Pouch now. React after an item that was equipped to another character is put into the discard pile, spend the pouch, put a charge on the pouch. Equipped to another character is destroyed, put a charge counter on the pouch. And order, remove a charge counter from the pouch. Your target character equips an item from your discard pile or gains +1 for equipping items this turn. Chosen pouch, target character. Yeah, same thing. Really cool. Recursion. Recursion is hard, and especially when you have longer games, the ability to be able to pull things back out of the discard pile is useful. And it's cool that it's A or B. You can either grab something from your discard pile or gain +1 for equipping items until end of turn, and it can be any character that you control. Pretty cool. Zaxxon's Fire. I'm not sure why they reprinted this. This is a promo from the Overlord Challenge Zaxxon deck. It wasn't in the deck, I believe. I think it was just a promo that came with that kind of like season of promos and challenges. So here we have Order, spend Zaxxon's Fire, promote +5 range strike, targeting a spent character from 1 to 4 ranks away. If the target strike hits, inflict an additional wound. So it's cool that it's so many different ranks. So you can hit somebody in the front rank, or rather 1 rank away, or up to 4 ranks away. 1 to 4 ranks away. So it's a 2 wound range strike that can target up to 4 ranks away. Powerful, but it's also level 10. And it's not an actual, it's not a bow or anything, so that's pretty cool. I don't know how I didn't realize that previously. It's just a random item with no trait that can do a pretty strong range strike. Okay, yeah, cool. I guess for Alliance it would be great because of the fact that we have so many more ranks in Alliance. Alliance, again, you start with 4 ranks. Should be 4 level 1s, 3 level 2s, I think it's 2 level 3s? Or so 2, maybe not. I haven't played Alliance, so it might just be two Warlords there. Yeah, ignore that. Regardless, you have more characters, so it's easier to play more ranks. Figurine of Wonder. Yeah, again, I think it's the exact same thing. No changes. It is just a 4, 13, 9, 2. Before target generates casts a spell, suffer a wound. The target gains +1 level for casting a spell, and saves created by the spell are +4 DC. So I think that's pretty cool. And again, it is only for wizards now. Here we have Necklace of Spell Storing. This is a great card, and was kind of pricey. It's not super crazy, but pretty hard to find because it only came in, again, Crimson Coast. It was the once per turn, scribe +2, and once per turn after this wizard casts a non-scribe spell, succeed with a scribe check, DC 22, to attach the spell to this wizard as if it had been successfully scribed. So this was cool because, again, it's an extra scribe once per turn. So you can scribe twice per turn, and it's a scribe as a react after actually using the spell. So in certain spells that are orders or something, then it'd be really cool to be able to, use it again that same turn. You need to be able to use as many strikes as you can as a wizard, particularly because they take up a lot of cards. It's not very efficient. This is interesting because, again, this was originally classless fighter rogue only, and so now they're just doing that. It is unique, and no changes in rank or AC, and it's ready this character. If this character attacked this turn, they might not attack again. Interesting, because, again, fighters and rogues generally want to attack a lot, so it's a cool card for a fighter or rogue that is a kind of moral support warlord, kind of like General Lund. But unfortunately, he can't use his ability twice, so that kind of sucks too. You'd have to have another card that you can use, but again, it's basically for tacticians. All right, and now we have the level 10 books. These were pretty strong, and they were a result of the RPG books that came out for Warlord. So there are 4 books for the Warlord RPG, which is like playing Dungeons and Dragons. There's like there's the Monster Guide, there's the World Atlas, there's a couple different ones. So you would get 1 per book, I think. I don't know what the exact dynamic was, but I know that there was a dynamic related with the actual D&D books. And they were epic. And your non-monster characters inflict an additional wound with strikes targeting monsters. Yep. And spend the guide, search your deck for monsters that may legally enter play, put it into play, then shuffle. Yep. Very cool. So super strong. Anything that searches for cards and draws cards, super strong. Getting's World Atlas. Oh, and the names are, I believe, all references to people that worked on that project. That's what I forgot to mention. Level 10s. After you bring a character into play, move that character forward 1 rank. Yes, that's good. And spend the Atlas. Target an opposing character does not share a faction with any of their warlords. Performing a melee strike against the target, regardless of rank, that inflicts 2 additional wounds. Yeah, so that's obviously to penalize people that play characters out of faction. Not useful for Alliance because you can't play cards that are out of faction, but interesting for Ancients. Yeah, so these, I don't think these have any errata. I think these are just basically accessibilities. There are foil versions of these. I don't have them on hand right now, but yeah, there are foil versions. Human's Epic, so this is the, I think, is there one more? Yeah, there's one more. Yeah. This is your characters are +1 level for using action cards. So it's obviously pretty cool for wizards and clerics, but particularly wizards. Here we have spend the epic, target your character in adjacent rank, search your deck for a character 1 level higher than the target, kill the target, put the retrieved character into play in the target's former location, then shuffle. So this is an interesting thing because obviously you are kind of leveling your characters. It's a shame you have to kill them, but this is very good in Alliance in the sense that obviously you have a much bigger deck, so you have a lot more possibilities of having higher level characters that you want to bring out faster. So yeah, that's pretty cool. Journal entry. This was a promo. No, it wasn't from. So there wasn't the epic thing from the Stolen Destiny. I always get those confused as another one. Anyway, this I believe was only available through the War Journal. So this is a pretty hard to find promo, and I think you only got one of them with your War Journal. So the War Journal was a magazine that was released by AEG for 2 years, talking about Warlord strategy. And so this is a promo that came in one of those editions. There were, I think, only a total of 13 of those magazines. Someday I'll scan them all. I have started, but I have not finished. Spend order, remove journal entries, search your deck for an action this character can perform while ready, reveal it and put it into your hand, then shuffle. So that's annoying because obviously you are spending. So you're going to want to be able to scribe it. And theoretically, you can use it if it's not a spend order. So check for an action this character can perform while ready. Yeah, you can use orders while ready too. So, yeah. All right, so we are last one. Big reveals here. We have the Medowin Codex. This is, I think, my favorite because it kind of goes best with my play strategy. I really enjoy bonuses. So here we have characters in your first rank gain +2 attack, AC, and skill. I really like playing. A couple of my decks are with clerics, and they have the I think it's called Symbol of Baskron or something. Baskrite Symbol. And it basically says that whenever you're giving bonuses, you get +2 to those bonuses. So these would be +4, +4, +4. And here we have order, spend the codex. Up to 3 target ready characters in your first rank may perform an attack. So if you're using, again, lots of big leveled characters in the front rank, basically a cavalry style deck, then they can all attack in one go, and that can devastate some ranks pretty heavily. So pretty strong. I like that card. And last but not least, the most rare card in the set is the Potion of Youth. This card alone was like a 500 euro card. Basically impossible to find. I don't think I've ever heard the exact reason why they're so hard to find. Everyone suspects that simply AEG either didn't really want to get them, like they made the mistake and released some of them. Oh, we're lagging again. Darn. Almost done here. Come on, hold it together. Yeah, the frame rate is slow. Okay, kind of bouncy. All right, I think we're back. Ouch, sorry about that. We're at the very end here now. Silly. All right, so very end here. Potion of Youth, super rare promo. Basically one of the most expensive promos that Warlord has ever had, other than the Medusan Lords. Again, I don't know any backstory of why they were so hard to find and why nobody had them. I know that everyone always wanted them, specifically for what's his name, Squire Lucian, because that allows you to continue using his ability to keep leveling. Yeah, spend one of your wizards to equip the potion, destroy order. This character gains +3 AC and suffers -1 level permanently. So I've always loved the tactics that messed with your levels. We're still skipping here. Super annoying. So close. Come on. Let's see in a minute. I've always loved tactics that messed with your levels. Come on, super bouncy. All right, so yeah, Potion of Youth. It's weird because it's such a niche card that no one ever had access to, and so this is going to be very much the card that people don't know how to price, and so it's kind of going to flood the market for a little bit, but eventually people are going to find a home for it very quickly. Or rather, there are going to be enough people that are going to find a home for it because of how rare it is and how most people are going to want to have a playset of it, because they'll never have access to the other one. And it's not because, you know, I don't mean that in a bad way. It's just that there's almost none out there. Yeah, I only have one in one collection that I ever got. I got one Potion of Youth. It is the only one I have. I wish I had a playset. I always wanted a playset, but yeah. That is the original Potion of Youth. They are crazy, crazy, crazy rare. Yeah, it's cool. I'm glad that they are available now. It is. I don't mind that they were reprinted. I like that they were reprinted because now I can use them as well. Even if I had a full playset, it would have been impossible to get it. So this is one of those cards that, again, nobody's going to be selling this for $20 now that this is available for whatever X amount. Even if it was $1. No one's going to be selling this for cheap. It's either you're going to pay whatever it was beforehand because of, you know, lack of price elasticity, or they just will say, no, I'd rather not sell it. I'll keep it in my collection because it is super rare. So I'm lucky to have one of them, but that's it. So otherwise, yeah, that is the Box of Greed. I've been wanting to do this video forever. It was a long video. Thank you to those of you who came in and watched it. I have one more card to roll on to see what we're going to do as a giveaway. So we got 19. So not the Potion of Youth, but the Medwin's Codex. There you go. Well, yeah, for those of you that were there, send me a message again, warlordcardgamer@gmail.com, and I will get you a card, one of these 5 cards. And for those of you that left a question, then you will be entered into more giveaways. And anybody who watches this after the fact, please drop any questions you might have that are relevant and engaging, and that will enter you into the giveaway as well. And I will try and pull that in about 2 weeks. So sometime around the 14th of August, give or take. I think that is about it for this video. If anybody actually watches all of this, thank you very much for watching it. Yeah, it's just so much information that I want to just throw out there. Somebody will care, somebody will enjoy it, and somebody will be interested to hear all of it. Thank you to those of you, again, that were hanging out with me this evening. It was nice, and yeah, such a weight off of my shoulders trying to get this out there to you guys. I'm going to take a break for now, and I will see how I'm feeling and see if we're going to start cracking packs, or I might leave that to a little bit later tomorrow morning. I will post about it in a bit. Thanks again. See you all later. Have a great night or morning, no matter where you are in the world. Take care.